Hi, good morning. Welcome back to the live stream. I have a great show for us planned today. Turning off that music. Okay. So I have a really good show planned for us today, and I have several things. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna put that up. I have to adjust something. I have some great show planned for us today. Actually, let's put that over. And I'm just pulling up the chat because I just want to see who I have joining us. I want to thank Nevada Naps for being here today. For my moderator, I appreciate your time, and I'm really grateful to have a moderator here, however much of your time you have to give today. Good morning, Wendy. And Don. And Jeff, good morning. Okay. So I have some really great topics, and I'm just going to go the rundown so you guys know what we're looking at today. Oh, my makeup seems weird. You never know, like you look at yourself in the mirror and then you get on camera and you like look in the monitor and you're like, what? So these are the topics that we're going over today. I have a deep dive. Obviously, we're doing a deep dive on the gas station Elantra picture, and we're going to bring up some clips from the Thought Riot podcast. We're also going to play a video by Mark B, which I've kind of remastered, so the sound is really good on it. After that, we're going to take a look at an interesting topic. Well, we're going to go a little deeper, including some 4chan posts when we talk about the Elantra, because I'm going to draw a little connection there for you. I do have an interesting new true crime creator that has like sparked my interest that I was just going to tell you guys about and play like a 5-minute clip of his video. I also want to do a deep dive today on WSU Mom Kim, and I have a really interesting segment planned for you. We'll get into all of that when we get to it. And then if we have time, there are two other things. I was getting ready for the show and I read a really fascinating post, and I want to go check it out with you guys. And it was from Robert at True Crime Cult. If you're watching, or Nevada, you might even have the inside scoop. I saw this post from him this morning, and it was like basically saying like he's getting a lot of heat for something he's covering, but he's not going to let it stop him, and he's going to keep exploring the subject. So I can't wait to go see what he's talking about, because Robert's a great investigator and he's devoted a lot of time to the show. So we'll go check that out. And then the last subject I want to get to today, which we didn't get to yesterday, was I'm going to tell you guys about what I have for plans for all of us in the live stream when the Idaho 4 case is over, or whenever you guys, whenever we don't want to talk about it anymore, which I don't see anytime soon, but I have to have foresight before that happens. So I'll tell you guys what my plans are, and I'll show you one of the YouTubers that is kind of like my role model for what I'm going to be doing in the future. It was a Tozy, but not anymore. So, all right, we're going to get started with our deep dive. And again, I'm going to just pull up so you know what we're talking about. We're talking about this Elantra pic. And let me take down this comment. Thanks, Dawn. And we're going to start with the Thought Riot podcast. We played this clip yesterday, but we didn't go into a real deep discussion about it. Just pulling up my playlists. I don't know. I kind of feel like having music on in the background today. I'll do that in the next interlude. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, there, my computer was like not set up. That's why it was all messed up. Okay, that's better. Okay. So this clip started at about 4 minutes yesterday, and we'll just go until they, as long as they stay on topic, let's just see what, let's let them give us all their thoughts on this.
Lost after a week, but it was lost after, but then where was already waiting inside of the house.
We'll go from there.
Okay, we'll start here. Here we go, guys. Let me know what you think in the chat. I'll be throwing up your comments.
Through what it means and everything in between, in my opinion, because, you know, what it's in reference to is the car, Brian Kohberger's car. One of the very first pictures I ever saw when I was looking into this case was the car of the gas station.
Okay, yeah.
The one that said,
Sure.
like, half the people who watch us say it's fake. If you zoom in, you can see that it's been altered and adulterated and everything else. Then you have the other half of people that are like, duh, it makes perfect sense. Let me show you exactly where he drove and exactly why he would be right in that area
mainstream,
right at that time. You know what I mean?
Media believes that it's definitely real.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's watch this and then we will go from there, okay?
News Nation getting more reports about the murders of 4 Idaho college students. A former medical examiner believes the toxicology reports in this case could help solve this murder. This coming after the coroner assigned to the case called the tests irrelevant to the horrific killings. A police officer's body cam also picked up a loud sound that could have been a scream around the time of the murders. Also, a convicted killer on death row believes the killer was waiting inside of the house before the savage stabbing spree. We want to bring in now former FBI agent Tracy Walder for her insight into these reports. Tracy, thank you so much for being back.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
And first, what do you make of the San Quentin death row inmate giving an interview saying that he believes the killer was already waiting inside of the house? Does this theory have any merit?
I don't want to say that it doesn't necessarily, because the reality is we still have no answers and we still have no suspects. And so what I do think is interesting and what I do think lends a lot of credibility and interest to this perspective is the fact that he is a criminal and he is inside the mind of a criminal. A lot of times, you know, we rely on profilers and things of that nature who are not necessarily, you know, of deviant mind and involved in these kinds of activities. And so I do think that his theory has merit, but obviously I certainly cannot say if it's fully credible or not. Now, I do think it could possibly explain how the person perhaps knew the house so well if they hadn't been to the house before. But then I think it really, in a weird way, casts a wider net in terms of suspects, and that perhaps this isn't someone who's in either an immediate or sort of periphery friend circle of the individuals. And I think that in and of itself is scary. The only reason I'm a little hesitant to fully embrace his theory is that the police, the one consistent thing they have done is they've been pretty consistent in discussing the fact that this is a targeted killing, which tells me it's probably less likely that person that was unknown to them was laying in wait.
I appreciate that. And I know that you're also tracking this issue. There was CCTV footage, but it was lost after a week. 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 What happened there? Why wasn't it reviewed in time?
You know, I've tried to be very pro law enforcement in this case, and I am very much pro law enforcement. I do think that they are doing a good job. But one of the things that I did read that was slightly frustrating to me is that there was CCTV. As we know, there's a clerk at one of the convenience stores who came forward and said they had perhaps the Hyundai on CCTV. However, that CCTV was recorded over after a week. It was recorded over after a week. It was recorded over after a week, and that the footage was asked for about 3 to 4 weeks later. And that the footage was asked for about 3 to 4 weeks later. And that the footage was asked for about 3 to 4 weeks later. I'm very surprised because what I think law enforcement probably would have and should have done at that case was asked for footage of really anything along the transportation route of where those houses are. And then they can go back and sort of go through it. But they should have asked that all of it be preserved initially, even if they didn't have time to go through all of it.
And we understand that law enforcement is completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of evidence and footage and photos that they are going through. Does this perhaps indicate, though, that some things may be falling through the cracks?
No one's perfect. No entity is perfect. No human is perfect. And I do think this may have been a situation where something did slip through the cracks. Typically, what we would do is immediately ask for it. And even if you are overwhelmed, which is completely understandable in this case, then you at least save it from being erased or recorded over so that you can come back to it when you are able to look through it. So yes, something like this very well may have slipped through the cracks, but I'm just speculating at this point.
And right now there's dispute over how relevant the toxicology reports are in this case. What do you make of that?
Yes, I thought that was really interesting too, and I'm surprised that there's a dispute about it because, in my opinion, we don't have a suspect, right, in terms of what we know, and so I'm very surprised that they are perhaps deemed by some to be irrelevant because they really might go towards helping towards a motive, helping towards the state of mind of the victims. If the victims were incredibly intoxicated when this was happening, it might really go to show and completely rule out the other roommates and that maybe screams weren't happening, people weren't fighting back. And so I do think they are relevant, although I'm not sure that they're relevant at finding us a suspect.
And what about the high-pitched sound that police body cams picked up? Do you think that those could have been screams? Can anything be made of the timing there? And does that warrant further investigation?
I think anything that's going around in that vicinity that's on any of those cameras that we're hearing or seeing will be relevant that happened at that time. It has to be. You can't rule it out immediately because of what we know happened. I am on the fence in terms of what I think these may be. I do think they very well could be tires kind of speeding away. And if they are, that's interesting as well. If someone is kind of peeling out of an area, were they just involved in something that they shouldn't have been? And so even if they are the victim screams as well, then that kind of narrows you in closer to the time of death.
Former CIA officer and FBI Special Agent Tracy Walter, thank you as always.
Okay. All right. So you all just got done watching the video. We just got done watching the video. When I first watched this video, my jaw was on the floor because we haven't been able to find very many videos like this when it comes to mainstream media because this does not fit into the current narrative that we see.
This is so far left field. I can't believe there's so many things said in that. I mean, so many things that are so alarming.
I agree. And the picture they're talking about right here, we've done a full video. I think we've done a couple videos on that picture, talking about, the fact of if it's real, if it's not, what it's all about. And it sounds like to me, based on what she said, they don't have that footage. There is none. It was recorded. It was re-recorded over in a week, and police never asked for it until 3 to 4 weeks later.
Okay, so I'm going to stop here just because there's a few things I just want to say that are coming to my mind that I just basically have questions. So the first thing, and I think that maybe people in the chat might even be able to answer these questions, or at least figure out how we could answer these questions because they are relevant. So the first thing I would say is just like distance wise, like on a map, was this the closest gas station to the crime house? The second question would be, how far is it from the crime house? Is it a 24-hour gas station? And then the most important thing is how many other gas stations are in the immediate vicinity. And the reason I ask that is because, yes, it sounds terrible that the footage wasn't requested until 3 weeks later and then it was destroyed. However, if this is a gas station that's farther away than other gas stations, it just might have been the last one they got to. I mean, because I do vividly remember them saying they were doing this like forensic the first step was this forensic mapping of every piece of electronic camera. And that was the very first thing, other than, questioning the immediate suspects. So I just am curious what gas station this is. We don't know. And so I guess that this picture that was released by the police was the cell phone pic that somebody took of the CCT footage. I'm just looking at the chat real quick just to make sure. Hold on. The police aren't going to that gas station. I thought they took the footage with them. Oh, the police are seen going to that gas station. I thought they took the footage with them. I mean, the reporters are only as good as their sources. Okay, here we go. We don't know which gas station it is. I mean, it's a really relevant question. What if this gas station is on the way out of town? What if it's not a 24-hour gas station and there could have been lots of reasons why it didn't get to until week 3. And I'm not trying to make excuses for LE. I'm trying to figure out why an investigation that includes FBI, state police, the county sheriff's office, the local police wouldn't have had a chance to ask for that footage yet. So that's why. I don't know with this. It has always made me wonder if it's real or not. Oh, great question to segue into our rebuttal to. It's not really a rebuttal to this video. It's just kind of like adding to, the Thought Riot podcast. So let me just put a little screensaver up while I grab it. And I got to upload Jeff's picture. I'll be right with you. Where the heck did it go? I'm just going to put on a tiny bit of music so it's not dead air, you guys. Okay. Jeff, that file is not downloading. I download it and it's not downloading to my desktop. It's really weird. I don't know. Let me just look. Is that a JPEG you sent me? Come on. Why am I having so much trouble with this? That's weird. I have a workaround. I'll be right back. I'm sorry for the delay, you guys, but it's worth it. And I'll edit it out when I make this into a video. Boom, we're in business. Okay. Oh my God. I feel like I need an extra, like 2 hands in order to do this live stream. Okay, there we go. Music's off. So we're gonna do a little bit of a deep dive into this. And what I'm doing is bringing up a video by Mark B, because he's one of the few people who took the time to try to point out as many anomalies as he could. And I just think this is a great video for the topic that we're on. So we're gonna watch it, and then I'll point out a few points, and then I'm gonna read through your comments and see what you guys have to add to the investigation / conversation.
That this car at 3:45 a.m. is not an Elantra. And the first thing we're going to show is right here, this bend. It's all horizontal, and then there's a sharp curve up, and it looks like approximately 8 inches of upward there. Now here's the Ford Fusion undercover cop car. And you can see it's got that bend right here. It comes horizontal and then about 8 inches right there. But let me show you the Elantra. Here's a car just like BK's. And you can see it's horizontal and it just has a flowing. And then from about this point here is more like 12 inches. So that's number one. Now, number two, we'll go to the headlights. And you'll see how far back into the fender. It comes way back in the fender. And when you see the other car, it ends right about here. Okay, so you can see here's the front of the tire area. Obviously, it's hard to see the tire, but this is the approximate area. It comes straight up. There's nothing coming back here. Let's look at that once more. So here's the front of the tire right here. So that other headlight ends someplace right around here. Now let's take a look at the Ford Fusion. Here's the front of the tire and it comes up right about here. And the Elantra comes further back, right about here. Now let's take a look at the antenna. On this car here, you can see the antenna. It looks like it's about 8 inches right there. Let me show you a close-up. Okay, there's the Ford Fusion. This is identical to the undercover car. There's the antenna right there. Here's the Elantra. It's more like a shark fin. It's very short. Now let me show you the car caught on camera again. Right there. I know it's hard to tell and it could be something else, but I view that as most likely the antenna, which would be about 8 inches. A shark fin would only come right here. This goes up higher. I'll show you a close-up on that right here. There's the close-up. Now let's take a look at the headlights. First off, it's very possible that these headlights were completely copied off another car and pasted in here. But let's say that they weren't. I think this one right here was copied and pasted here. It's an interesting area that it's covering, which would be the manufacturer's logo, whether it's Ford or Hyundai, whatever it might be. And it also covers most of the grille. So experienced car people cannot look and tell what kind of car that is. Makes absolutely no sense for that to be there. This car is in the same physical position as the Elantra I'm going to show you, okay? And you can't even see the passenger side headlight, but you can see the logo area and the grille area. I spent a lot of time trying to find an Elantra in the exact same position as this other car, and this is it. There it is. So that headlight is photoshopped in. Let's talk about this right below the headlight, this area here. Every single car that you look at is going to have something here, a fog light or a black piece of plastic, something. And I believe they photoshopped something in here to hide it. Okay, let me show you the Elantra. So here it is. So if this was on the other car, I believe they would have let it be. But let me show you the Ford Fusion right here. So if they would have showed this, if it's a Ford Fusion, it would be recognizable. So every single car, if you look on the street or in parking lots, you'll see something here on every single car. But on this one, there's absolutely nothing here, right directly under the headlight. That's what you got to focus on, is right under the headlight. See, it's right under the headlight right here. I'll show you the Ford Fusion again. See, here's the headlight. It comes straight down. There's that end. And right here, it come down. There's that end right there, the Ford Fusion. So the car was caught on camera at this station, mobile station right here. And just for the heck of it, I want to see how far the police department was. And as you can see right here, 0.9 miles away. This here's the police department right here. Now in this next map, you're going to see headlight, it comes straight down, there's that end. And right here, it come down, there's that end, right there, the Ford Fusion. So the car was caught on camera at this station, mobile.
Okay, so I paused it there because that answers all the questions we just came up with. Jeff came up with this address. The address of the gas station is 802 Troy Road in Moscow. And now we can see with Mark's pen where that is. And the other marker he had was the police station. So I'm going to listen to what he says. And Jeff, if you know the answer to this question, go ahead and drop it. But I don't know where the police station, how far I don't know where the vicinity to King Road is. We've got Troy Road up here, the gas station's off of. And then this is Route 95, it looks like. So if anyone could drop that in the chat, that'd be good. Not trying to have you do my research for me. I'll go look it up afterwards. But, you know, just so we can make this segment complete and give us as much knowledge as possible to the, you know, the live people we have. Because not all the people that watch my live stream watch my videos and vice versa. So let's hear what Mark has to say.
Station right here. And just for the heck of it, I want to see how far the police department was. And as you can see right here, 0.9 miles away. This here's the police department right here.
I got it.
Now in this next map, you're going to see, I'm going to show you Indian Hills right around here where they say BK's car was caught on camera, which is right there. That's the police department right here. Here's the mobile station. I'll go back and you'll see this here line right here turns back into the original. There it is right there. And now here's the route from where BK's car supposedly was caught on camera right here. And now we're going to follow this all the way to 1122. Okay, 1122 is further that way, but just to give you an idea. So there's the mobile station, and that undercover cop car, Ford Fusion, was cruising in the entire area.
I'm just going to stop because this is interesting. So Mrs. Smith says, I thought Brian Enton took the picture of the gas station screen or something. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Well, I was under the impression it was an employee of the gas station, but that was just like me thinking that. If somebody's ever heard that before, I'd love to know, is that Brian Enton going? Because Brian Enton, there were some news people who did get to neighbors in different businesses before the police. And I wonder, did Brian Enton take that picture, you know, before the footage had been erased? Maybe he saw the footage. Just a thought. Not that it matters, but.
Area that evening. Here's the police station. So who knows? Maybe that's the cop car.
It's an alternative.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Oh, that's a good point.
Feel free to leave a comment.
Well, before I say anything, what are your thoughts, Tia?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. You know, I mean, and I don't know what was Chad saying about Graham, the other
Graham.
perspective. No, the person you said didn't care for you.
Oh, Gray Hughes.
Gray.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about him a little bit later because he left kind of a, I don't want to say, he left kind of a snippy comment on my channel, which I was gonna show you guys.
Okay.
But what Chad was saying is that, hey, Gray Hughes has a great, just go out. Why don't I go show the other perspective and go show Gray Hughes, which we absolutely can. There were a couple other comments here though.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
And I was thinking, what year was Brian? What year did they finally say BK's car was?
2015.
Okay, because the one he was showing was a 2016.
A 2016 Elantra?
Yeah, in the video you just showed.
I think the most convincing thing for me that Mark showed was the front headlights. Yeah, and Jeff writes down that there was a timestamp on there for 3:45. Before I finish listening to this, I'm going to bring up the two things. So I have the picture right here. Of course, I have a freaking edited picture. I shouldn't have done that. But Jeff sent this picture of the Elantra, which is particularly good. Let me just take down this comment. Because of the angle. Two things. You can really see, because this is how it kind of would appear on a camera. You can really see that the tip of the windows back there, which is a good identifier. You can see this kind of wraparound headlight, which is an excellent identifier. And you can really see what's interesting is this. It looks like, well, I'm going to show you this. If you look at this picture, one thing that I think it was, I want to say it was April pointed out yesterday, the wheel wells look like they're showing. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it kind of looks like, I'm having trouble toggling back and forth. Maybe because the tires are, maybe that's what we're looking at, because the tires, it looks like we're just only seeing the hubcap. I don't know. I'm going to keep playing the video. You can't deny that. I mean, obviously the headlight, unless there's something about a distortion from the way that the angle was taken.
Yeah,
that's the only
or
thing.
The light, like the light.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. So this is what Mark is saying is it looks like the headlights are photoshopped on, but the light could be distorting it. If you look at the very back window right here, that's where I can see the similarity. I can also see the tip of the wraparound headlight there. Anyway, me personally, not, speculation.
It could be a glare more than it's the headlight. It might be the glare. I don't know. That struck me too.
But I thought that was pretty convincing when you see how the headlight stops before the wheel well. But then you look at BK's car and you can see how the headlight wraps around past the wheel well. That's I don't even know how through distortion that could be different. So he brought up things that I had never really thought about. Let's see what else.
Yeah, I think we actually have. I remember looking at the car, and I don't know if we were doing this in a live stream or if it was just you and I going over it, and we were looking at you kept pulling up pictures of the car outside of like the house, 1122 King Road, and we were looking at the headlights and the shapes, and we were trying to do you remember that?
You're talking about, yeah, that was the stalker incident, right? Where the girl's underwear was stolen out of her car and shoved in her cup holder. Is that the one?
I think that was the one, and then we saw the white car in the background, and there was just various times we were trying to see if it was actually the Elantra or not, and we weren't convinced based on some of those things, like not just the shape of the head.
Gia, do you want to come up? Oh my gosh, I'll send you, I didn't realize that we had Gia here. I'm going to text her a link, and if she's up for it, she can come for the WSU Mom Kim deep dive. No pressure, Gia. Hold on, guys. This is important. You know that she's got the, Gia's got the good perspectives. Paste. Okay, Gia, just sent that your way. If you want to join us, fine. No pressure. Let's go.
Headlight, but like what's underneath the headlight? I guess kind of like the fog light, or I don't know where he pointed to on the Ford Fusion. You could see it in more detail, and the Elantra didn't really have it. I should
Yeah,
have spoken up during the thing, but
it was interesting. He packed a lot into 5 minutes. I actually was pretty impressed. There was one comment I wanted to address saying, yes, so if the officer lied about the car, then the lie will come out in court. And I don't think anybody is suggesting a lying or anything. This photo isn't from an officer. I mean, it was put on mainstream media. I saw it on Fox News. I saw this on a lot of mainstream media outlets. Boy, good morning, Gia.
Morning. Excuse my appearance, everyone. I
You
wasn't
look really
planning.
cute. You look like you've been gardening.
Oh,
Got the hair up, you got the overalls
my
on,
overalls. Yeah.
protecting your arms. So
I
yeah. Anyway,
wish
nice
I
to
was
see you. Thanks.
gardening.
Yeah, me too. It's cold out. But thanks for jumping on last
Yeah,
minute.
sorry to interrupt. I just like popped on and I was like, oh, okay. Let me see what's happening.
Do you have any immediate thoughts? I mean, I know we've gone
I
over.
wasn't really watching too much. I mean, I was like just getting on, so I'm not up on your conversation.
No, that's fine. I'm going to show you something because there's actually a couple of new people who just joined us. We're just going to show I'm going to show you a clip really quickly from the Thought Riot podcast. I think I said that right.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so we're just going to show you that it's like a 2-minute clip, but it's really interesting.
All right, you guys.
No suspects. And so what I do think is interesting and what I do think lends a lot of credibility and interest to this perspective is the fact that he is a criminal and he is inside the mind of a criminal. A lot of times, we rely on profilers and things of that nature who are not necessarily, of deviant mind and involved in these kinds of activities. And so I do think that his theory has merit, but obviously I certainly cannot say if it's fully credible or not. Now, I do think it could possibly explain how the person perhaps knew the house so well if they hadn't been to the house before. But then I think it really, in a weird way, casts a wider net in terms of suspects, and that perhaps this isn't someone who's in either an immediate or sort of periphery friend circle of the individuals. And I think that in and of itself is scary. The only reason I'm a little hesitant to fully embrace his theory is that the police, the one consistent thing they have done is they've been pretty consistent in discussing the fact that this is a targeted killing, which tells me it's probably less likely that person that was unknown to them was laying in wait.
I appreciate that. And I know that you're also tracking this issue. There was CCTV footage, but it was lost after a week. 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 What happened there? Why wasn't it reviewed at the time?
I've tried to be very pro law enforcement in this case, and I am very much pro law enforcement. I do think that they are doing a good job. But one of the things that I did read that was slightly frustrating to me is that there was CCTV. As we know, there's a clerk at one of the convenience stores who came forward and said they had perhaps the Hyundai on CCTV. However, that CCTV was recorded over after a week. It was recorded over after a week.
Okay. So that kind of gets you up to speed, Gia, on what we're talking about.
Sort of, yeah.
But I got a really cool, I just got a cool email from Jeff, and we're going to head over to Jeff's channel because he put a post up about this, which I think answers a few of our questions here. So just bear with. Jeff_H_guitarist. What the heck? The guitarist, that's what it is. Jeff. And so this was a post from 7 months ago. And I'll zoom in on it once I pull it up. Wow, Jeff, you're really active in your community page. I need to take a page from your book. Oh, whoa, what's you got for Papa Rogers there? Here we go. We're getting there. Whoa, there's so much I want to stop and okay, here we are. So let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. And I'm going to read you Jeff's post here. It says, oops, keep up there. I was asked by Sarah Temp for the Troy gas station pics that I had. Here are the 3 images that I believe were all taken by the gas station employee / manager. I also added a couple of Google Earth photos of the gas station as well. If you look closely at the photo that shows the 3:45 a.m. timestamp and play / pause the video controls, you can see the mini manhole cover with the 2 little holes in it. And if you look at the Google Earth photo at the front of the gas station, guy about to walk out the front door, it's a descriptive, he's put in parentheses for those listening, not watching. I believe you can see the same manhole cover that's been painted over with no parking. I found that interesting, and I'm pretty sure it's the same. It's my opinion that the speeding car is from the car wash camera at the back of the gas station, with the car having just passed Hanson Ave as it flies down White Ave. The play pause picture, I believe, is showing a small piece of the camera on the front of the gas station, the same camera that captured the white car at the stop sign on Highway 8, and White Ave. Let me know what you think. And so let's look at the pictures. Why is it like? Okay, so this is a close-up
video.
Yep. Okay. I haven't seen this pic before.
This is what they say. They think the lady at the gas station took these photos.
Well, I guess the debate is whether it was
Kind of
after.
looks like it's coming from up high, right?
Yeah.
Like not a person, an angle from a person taking it. That looks like a camera,
Definitely.
like a mounted camera. I mean,
yeah. The employee taking the picture, they were taking a picture of the CCT footage though.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But so Jeff, so what the point is that Jeff, through reasonable deduction, believes this is the same gas station. The only thing I don't see, Jeff, which you could point out to me, is where the manhole cover is. So we can make that comparison too. Okay, there's the no parking. Okay, there's the manhole cover with the little divot in it. That's what we're looking for.
On the G.
Let me go back. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What's the significance of that?
Just to try and see if we can place the car.
Okay. Yeah.
We're trying to identify the gas station.
To see if it's this. Gotcha.
Yeah, we don't know.
Identifying. Okay. Got you. Well, that
No,
doesn't have any painting over it.
Yeah, maybe I should take the comment down there. What do you guys think? Drop it in the chat. And, we're just showing it to you now. It's for you guys to put it out there for you guys to look. Leave it in the comments what you think. We don't know. Just guessing. And there was one other thing I wanted to show you about the Elantra, which I thought was significant. Take this down, which is other people.
Hey,
so
yeah, Jeff says he can come up for 5 minutes if we want him to.
yeah,
Sure.
I'm gonna drop the link in the chat.
Look, I don't even have any earrings on. See how much I love you? I came up looking like a wreck.
You look great. You never look like a wreck. No negative self-talk here. And I've just given up on earrings.
Hey, which nephew did you have to pick up?
The junior.
The littlest?
Yes, and he was a really good sport. My best friend called me. My best friend is Jamaican, you guys, and we don't have any. Well, we do have Jamaican restaurants in our small town, but there's a special Jamaican restaurant at the transportation center. So my nephew was so sweet. He went to the Caribbean cafe with me, and you don't know what any of the food is if you don't speak patois. I know a couple. I know the basics, but he was a good sport. Thanks for asking. And Jeff is here. Hi, Jeff. Can you hear us?
Thank you, Demon Dog.
Jeff, I think you're muted.
Oh.
There
Can
he
you hear me?
comes.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Can you-
Now.
Gia, you do not look like a wreck.
I know.
If I turn my camera on, I will scare the world because I'm shirtless.
I know. I was trying not to have my camera on, but it went up. Thank you. Thank you, though, Jeff.
But yeah, you know, this whole gas station photo is very intriguing. Like I thought that I could debunk the photo because we
Mhm.
have the timestamps from Linda Lane. I thought, well, the car can't be in two places at the same time. So I took the Linda Lane timestamps, looked at Google Photos, see how long it takes to get to that gas station. And unfortunately, there's plenty of time to get to that gas station, get your photo taken, and get back to Linda Lane to be seen, you know, in that
Right.
camera. So that didn't work.
Yeah. So at least the
But-
timeline works out. So now you
Yeah.
have to find another way to debunk.
But it's, you know, and it's really hard to tell, you know, a car that's speeding by like that on a camera that's shooting at night, because the fact that the camera's shooting at night means it has to use a slower shutter speed. Things are going to blur. If you take your hand and you stand in front of that camera, wave it around, it's just going to be a blur. So this
Right.
car is going to be captured as a blur.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, there's that article I sent you. It says that the police, shows the police in front of that gas station. They went there. They retrieved 8 hours worth of footage from the gas station. So I assume they have looked at it very thoroughly. That's the thing. It's like I see a lot of YouTubers show a still picture of something and then come to grand conclusions. How much more info would we have if this gas station employee had made a video instead and say, okay, I'm gonna go frame by frame. I'm gonna hit play for you so you can see it in motion. All that information is very valuable because we as people and vehicles move. We need to see them moving. It's hard to tell from something that's just a still, you know. I mean, and you know, it's like when you're trying to find a still, like sometimes you're trying to do a thumbnail or something, or I used to edit, well, I still do a lot of political ads, and you're looking for a nasty looking image of the opponent.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll take this still. No, gosh, they look great. They look like a model. I'll take this still. No, that one doesn't work. And you sit there and you go, it's hard to find a still. And then you find that one still and it doesn't represent their true face at all because the frames before it and the frames after it, they look fine. Maybe they just sneezed and their eyes closed and they look terrible. So I don't think, you know, when somebody shows me a still, and especially if they show me a still of Linda Lane, here's a still, and I've also cropped off the timestamp so you can't go check it out for yourself. It's like, how helpful is that really? So,
Right. Yep.
oh, but one other thing before I forget, on those 3 pictures, one thing that I also looked at very closely was, you know how when you take a picture of and it doesn't look like a very high quality computer monitor that she snapped. I'm assuming I thought I heard somewhere that it was a female, either gas station employee or manager. I think it was she. In that article, I think it said she went through hours of footage just looking for any vehicles to see. But the monitor itself has little, it's not the right word to say pixels. But you know, as you look up closely, you can see the little dots and they're in vertical rows. So if you look at the pictures closely, you can see the vertical rows of pixels that are from the monitor. Which is why I think it's an older monitor, because I knew LCD computer monitors, they're much smoother. You don't get the little pixels and stuff, but they seem to match. I don't know if you can see.
I can see. Can you guys see that there? Am I showing? I'm not looking at the screen.
See like at the top left, there's like vertical kind of lines. Yeah. And then if you look at all 3 pictures, I think, you know, you get a sense that there's similar lines in all 3.
Yeah.
So I think they're, and not really lines, you know, they're just it looks like it's almost like you projected this image onto a sheet that had a bunch of lines on it, you know, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Or like over the trash can. And even like under the headlights of the car, see right directly over the trash can, you see those vertical lines.
Yes.
So that's what makes me really believe that, because this picture disappeared for like the longest time. I couldn't find it anywhere, because when we first started talking about this case, like, you know, not long after it happened, this picture was going around, and if you look at that picture, there's like a white wall next to the car that's at the stop sign. Well, that white wall you can identify. See that little white wall next to the sidewalk? I think that's a white wall to keep bicyclists from just driving out and getting hit, because that's a bike path right there too. Or
It looks like a
it ends up
Jersey
being
barrier.
yeah, it's a barrier with a little handle,
Jersey
a
barrier.
railing there.
Yeah.
So that we were able to see that. You can see that on Google Maps, and we're able to verify this is definitely from that spot. But see, unfortunately, this image doesn't help us, I think, identify the car any more than the other one does. It's just not. It's not a good enough quality. There's nothing completely definitive. But that what's also interesting to me too is that if you're trying to figure out if it's a 2011 to 2013 Elantra versus a 2014 to 2016, I think it's the little from the back. It's the little like reflector lights on the bumper. 2011 to 2013, they're closer together. If you imagine like somebody with their eyes are closer together, and then on the back of the later model, they separated them. They were way out more towards the edge.
Oh, I don't have a picture of that here. I wish I could show them, but I'll go out like that. Then you guys can see it. See what you're talking about.
But I can understand why, that's a really hard thing to see in footage at night. I mean, the actual taillights themselves are going to like make it difficult to see, especially in the car if it's in motion or so. I don't know. A lot of people I hear not blame, but cast like it's almost like they're saying the FBI agent that investigated and came up with the range 2011 to 2013 maybe didn't know what they're talking about, but I mean, it's a tough call. It's also makes me wonder if it's not intentional. It's like, we got to put out there be on the lookout for this Elantra. Should we say 2011 to 2016? Because there's really not much difference at all to anybody that doesn't know. But then one guy in the room can say, hey, but aren't we looking at that one suspect that we think has a 2015? Should we really alert him to this? If we say 2011 to 2013, doesn't alert him, but it still gets us the same number of tips people are going to call in. So if that's what happened, then again, now I'm a rare one out there because I think law enforcement are pretty amazing, have done a great job, and I applaud them for their professionalism. And so when it comes to listening to professional YouTubers versus professional law enforcement, I kind of lean towards the law enforcement. The training's there, and I think too, and one last point, because I know I'm rambling, but when they say, oh, why would Koberger throw away his education over something like this? Why would law enforcement throw away their whole careers over something like this? I mean, isn't this a similar question? I mean, he hasn't gotten very far into it and is probably very frustrated. You get like this great education, you spent all that time, all that money, and then you think you're going to be a big fish in a little pond. You come to a little town. Surely they're going to hire you. Surely you can tell them, I know better than you guys. I'm going to help you. What is it? What was that quote in his application?
Yeah.
I want to assist with forensic stuff in small towns. When I read that, it really has like an arrogance.
Oh, definitely.
Like I remember when I first started video editing, I had just the basic knowledge of Photoshop, and I did a demo. I said, experienced in Photoshop. I look at that now and it's like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing that must have been. Anybody looking at that would say, this guy is like, he doesn't know Photoshop much at all. But
yeah, these are really interesting observations. And I can say I haven't seen this picture before. And when you say it was taken out of circulation, I didn't know there was a second picture, because I've heard people talking about the glare of the headlights and how it was amber, how it was red and different. Now I know why there's a debate. It's because of this closed circuit picture right here that we're looking at. Anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah, so what I think she took a picture, two pictures from one shot. Well, no, the picture that shows the manhole cover, I think, is probably of this shot right here. So I think this shot and then the timestamp that you see are from this camera view that she pulled up on the monitor. But then the picture that was circulated as the possible Elantra, that's from a different camera. That's from the camera at the back of the building that's mounted right near the car wash exit. But I don't know. I mean, I would love to know, like, from law enforcement involved in this case, how many really believe that this car is truly is the one involved, or just looks like it was a white car at 3:45. It's worth looking into because of just the time. And apparently, I think the woman said it seemed to be driving by pretty fast.
Right.
So
I think what's interesting though is with this angle, I haven't seen this before. I almost feel like doing a deep dive separately on just this angle of the car, because we actually do have great shots of just the back of BK's car. I don't have any shots of the front of BK's car because when you get pulled over, the police can't just walk up to the car, but it certainly walks up to the back.
yeah, it's like police body cams are like with the Riley strain. It's like, man, just you just point your body camera at some stuff we can use a little more. Like
I know.
with Koberger, go around to the front of the car, show us, take a walk around. Just,
Right. Yeah.
It's
I
like
often
the
or
think
like
that.
the first cop in Indiana. It's like, hey, I'll show you a shot of my shoes for the whole time. Oh gosh, that would have been so frustrating when they pulled that up. It's like, all right, we got the footage.
Yeah.
It's just his shoes.
I mean, what's the point? Then it's just audio for the most part, right? So
Right, and bad
what's the
audio
point?
too.
Bad audio, right?
Yeah, because if he's leaning over, now the camera's pointed at the ground and his body's like in the door of the car is blocking all the good sound. Yeah, it took me a while. I could not make out in the beginning that Brian said, oh, we're going for Thai food. I could not. I was trying to make that out. And then I heard somebody, it's funny, different ears pick up on different things. Just like with the, what did you say to Adam? Maddie, what did you say to Adam? I was sitting there. I took the noise reduction to the edge where it was like getting rid of all the truck sound, but not the voices. Couldn't make out what the guy saying in the beginning for the longest time. I put it on loop, just let it keep playing over and over and over. The moment I went up to go to the bathroom and I could still hear it, I wasn't really thinking about it, I guess. And that's when I thought, I hear it now. I hear something. So it's really amazing to me when it's almost like you have to like not focus on it. And then you might actually pick up on what it's saying. Because I think your brain is trying to make it fit with what you think it's going to say, what it must be saying, considering the circumstances. I mean, what must they be talking about? So you try and inject your own, it's like a bias, to try and figure out what's being said.
Right.
I still don't understand it. It's what I heard was you're going to ditch those guys, and then he pauses, when you're inside. And I just kept listening to it over and over. That's all I can ever hear. It's 10 syllables. And I know it doesn't make sense. And I know I've been laughed at by Tommy. It's like, Tommy, I'm just telling you what I hear.
Can we play it?
Yeah, that's on my YouTube channel too.
I know. I'm just wondering if you had it right handy. We could listen right now. I'm so curious.
So I just have a couple quick thoughts on the Elantra photo though. So like, as I was thinking, as you were talking, just as a photographer, one of the things that Gia has said before is that the lighting could totally have distorted that one headlight. And I just want to bring that up because I really think in that picture, just like you were saying, when something's moving, capturing that frame. And I know it when I'm trying to get a thumbnail from a video, it's so hard. And so I can totally see how the distortion happened if it's because it doesn't have like that 24 or 30 frames per second that we would use to film like an action shot YouTube video. It's much smaller. And the other
probably
thing
like 10 frames or less.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I think there was like because I was trying to replicate like the Linda Lane footage because I bought the same camera or similar. Actually, I emailed Kane Francetic and asked him, and he wasn't positive about the model. He thought he said, I think it's a Rio Link. Wait, what have I got? I got it right here. The one I have is a Rio Link RLC 520A. I mean, it looks exactly the same as the camera mounted at Linda Lane, but I think in his email he said it was he said something else. But it's very similar. But anyway, what I was trying to do was trying to replicate the that footage and to see. And I think it was like 6 to 10 frames a second is what I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. But
well, no, I'm wondering, is that normal though for a CCT footage? Is it normally like 6 to 10 frames per second?
Yeah, because like on a professional video camera, as you bump up the frame rate, you need to pump a whole lot more light into it because it requires more light to be working fast frames. So it makes sense. So if it's shooting in the dark at night, it's
Right.
got to slow the frame rate way down just so that it can give you an image that you can make out.
That makes
Uh-huh.
total sense. And then the other thing I
Yeah.
was thinking is like when the one thing that I always find challenging, and anyone who does photography, you could probably speak on this in a more like scientific way, but you know, even just putting on makeup, Gia could relate to this. It's like you are a three-dimensional image, and the way you look three-dimensionally will never be the
Mhm.
same as what you look like on a photo or a camera. It's two-dimensional. And so you always, I'm always doing things that I would never do in real life for my makeup, but it's meant to recreate that three-dimensional image of myself, because no matter what, we don't look the same way we look in person on camera. And I just, I want to point that out, that anytime you're taking a two-dimensional, you're making a three-dimensional thing into a two-dimensional thing, it's only our eyes that create the dimension. It's all flat and it's all distorted by nature. So I don't know.
Right.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I
Yeah,
always,
you know that I used to a long time ago, I used to rent these tutorial photography videos from a photographer in California named Dean Collins. Amazing photographer. He's passed away since, but he used to talk about the wraparound effect with the light itself. Like you put the light off to the side, you know, it's going to light the side of the face that's closest to the light. But there's also a wraparound effect where the light is going to come around the face and light what you'd call the shadow side of the face. So that wraparound effect from the light, it's just physics with light. And I think the same kind of thing could be happening. I don't think to say, wait a minute, like in the still picture of the car, you can't see the headlight. But when that light glows, it is going to wrap around and it's going to light the air and the molecules in front of the light itself. But the other thing too is that car is moving. So the shape of that light that we see in the image,
It's like a
it's a blur. It's going to elongate it. So if it
Right.
was a dot, it's going to become a line. You know, if it was
Right.
a circle, it's going to become an oval. So
Yeah.
it makes total
Yeah.
sense. But
That's what I thought when people were saying it's photoshopped. I'm like, it doesn't look photoshopped necessarily. It just looks like it's an image in motion.
right. I think there's sometimes, and I don't mean to be so snarky and critical of people, but when I hear like, oh, it's photoshopped, what I hear them saying is, I'm just not going to believe what I see, you know, and I understand that
Mhm.
we should be looking, what is it? No stone left unturned. We should be
Right.
looking at everything.
Sure.
But when you start looking at, okay, I think it's photoshopped. Oh, I was just proving it wasn't photoshopped. Okay. It's got to be unicorns. I'm sure of it. Unicorns are involved in this mystery here.
Right. Yeah.
But
But-
and it's hard not to, I try to be open-minded, you know, and try to be kind to people that have thoughts where you just want to, what is it, SMH? Just shake my head.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. I think people kind of use the word Photoshop in a general sense, especially people who aren't editors. Like I'm not, you and Kitty are, right? But from a perspective of just when I look at something and it doesn't look real to me, like, oh, that looks
Right.
photoshopped, sort of as a general term, like meaning I'm not thinking you actually went into Adobe and Photoshop. Like someone did something to alter that, whether they put a filter on it or they added something to it, or all of these amazing things you can do these days with
Right.
software and apps and everything
Well,
else.
what's funny is it's getting easier and easier but when you're talking video, I mean, 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second, and you're talking about something that is would require photoshopping every frame. I mean, who's going to sit there? You know, like somebody was saying with the Linda Lane where he pulls up for like and sits there for 10 seconds, that that could have all been photoshopped. It's like, well, yeah, you're just thinking about the car, but you're not thinking about the headlights that hit the trees before we even see the car, the lens flares, all that stuff. It's like, are they really going to call in like Industrial Light and Magic for this?
Right.
And I'm telling you, from the emails going back and forth with Kane Francetic, that, you know, the landlord of the Linda Lane camera and everything, he doesn't seem like a guy who's up to anything nefarious. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who, I don't think he even has the knowledge
No.
to do something like this. He's just a guy who's trying to be helpful. I mean, you know, I think he lives right there. He probably has encountered, you know, the students that lost their lives, but it's a small town. I mean, he's shared that everybody knows everybody. This is like a small town where you probably kept your doors unlocked, and then all of a sudden something came to
Yeah.
town that just turned it upside down, and and now
The trust of the town has been broken.
yeah, it's not. I'm sure it will take a long time before it's ever the same
Yep.
again.
Right.
And so part of me can understand why they wanted to tear the house down, just to,
Oh,
like, this is like
absolutely.
a cancer. We want to just remove it, but
Right.
at
No,
the same time,
you know what I say? Like, I will stand by I do not think it was the right thing to do, but that doesn't mean I don't understand from different perspectives why they did it, and I understand from a business perspective from the school. They don't want that to be like why people are coming to the campus to look. They don't want that to be a reminder, and they're thinking enrollment and they're thinking numbers. And as a parent, after that, I wouldn't want my child to go probably to that school, and guarantee it doesn't even mean like the chances of it happening at any university are probably the same as it happening there, or even less than it happening there again, right? You don't know. But I just think now I'm rambling, but I'm just thinking about the house. Like, I don't think it should have been torn down. I think the school did it as a business decision. And I don't think they were as altruistic as they're making out to be, that they don't want the students to feel badly, because I just,
maybe even a safety decision. Now, this is just my own conclusion. It could be safety, but Kane had said, because I had emailed Kane initially asking him for these 2 videos that he used to have posted. They were apartment tour videos of 1320 Linda Lane. And in the videos, this woman, now I think the woman may be his wife, but she gave an apartment tour, and then she walked up the hill, and she walks up right to where the camera is, walks up the stairs where we see those, those 4 people come in. She goes into that door, the laundry room's just to the left as you go in the door. Why I didn't grab these videos, I'll never know. When I see something like that, I got this app that I can just copy, paste the URL, click one button, and it's downloaded in a folder off of YouTube.
Oh, that's cool.
Why I did, it's called, if you're looking for it, it's called 4K video downloader. It's like the easiest app in the world.
Like the number
download.
4?
Yeah, the number 4K video downloader. Okay. They make a bunch of products too. There's like 4K Tokkit for downloading videos off of TikTok. It's TOKKIT. They got 4K Stogram, which I guess is Instagram, so 4K Stogram. And then I got this other link to a Twitter downloader to help download Twitter videos, easily. But
that's great.
But yeah, no, long story short, I asked him about these videos. Actually, no, I wasn't even asking him to get copies of the video because they were still up then. I was asking him, I said, I know when I shoot a video, there's a lot of extra footage that's shot that you don't use. I said, I'm just trying to get a sense of like the road and the parking lot that we see on Linda Lane camera there. Is there any extra footage? Because at that time, I didn't know that Linda Lane is a dead end. It doesn't connect. You can't get, if you're on Linda Lane, you can't get to the house where it all happened.
Yeah. So if they had a less condensed version of what he put up with all
just different shots of the area, the camera, that they just didn't use in the video.
Right.
And he said no, and then he shortly after that pulled the video down. Which is, I hope I didn't cause it to get pulled down, but
I wouldn't think
I don't think I did. I think he was just, now maybe it brought it to mind and he's like, oh, I got to get that off of there,
Yeah, or maybe he wanted to save
YouTubers
it.
were using anything and everything they could get their hands on.
Right.
Now I will say, and I've said it many times, many times, and if anybody's a fan of Lana, I can't say that I am, but I did see her do a live stream where she showed those 2 videos, those apartment videos. She showed them during her live stream, hit play, played them through. That might be the only place that they exist unless Kane ever decides to post them back up again.
Is that Lana Marie?
No, Truth and Transparency, Lana.
Oh, that Lana. Okay.
Yeah. I try to watch her, but I
don't have it.
No. I just feel like there's too much disdain for law enforcement. It's like I don't think law enforcement can do any good. They could cure cancer, I would think, and be no, You're up to something. I don't trust you.
You know, and the thing I was going to say earlier when you were speaking about law enforcement is I agree with you. I think that the problem and people aren't recognizing is that they think that law enforcement is slacking, or they didn't know this and they didn't know that. That people are forgetting they very quickly went under a gag order. And so it's not that they're ignorant. It's not that they're not doing things. To your point, they're much better at their job than we would be, because this is what they do. I don't think they, you know, so I think people give them a bad rap for that. And so, yeah, I'm not particularly fond of any criticism of law enforcement myself.
And the self-control that they must have, because when you hear yourself run through the ringer, I mean, it kind of reminds me like in the Richard Allen case, you know, that the law firm, the guy who disgruntled got fired, I guess, and then released the images. I'm sure that there's some in law enforcement that are like, gosh, they just tear us apart. You know, first it was that we were always just hanging around donut shops and that's all we did. Now it's like, you know, we're involved with this. You know, even the defense attorneys, you know, when she said the knife sheath was placed, you know, they're trying to point that at us, like that we set this up. Although I got to give her a benefit of a doubt now, because I used to say that's all that must have meant. But it's possible that the killer took the sheath out and placed it himself on the bed. So maybe it wasn't as nefarious, the choice of the word placed. You know, now that in hindsight looking at it, it could have been that. But I really think that knife sheath came off. He did what he did. Kaylee came in, startled him, and then he's like, he's lost. Where's the sheath? Now, if you're the killer and you've got two people that you've just unalived right there, do you say to yourself, I think I'll turn on this bedroom light so I can find my sheath?
No,
knowing
I don't
that
think
this
he
window
realized.
is visible.
I
to
don't
the
think
back
he
parking lot.
realized. I don't think the killer realized until he was already, like, maybe even home, right? I think that's, if it is BK allegedly, right? I think that's why he would have gone back the next morning to just scout out to see where's the knife sheath.
Like, did I drop it on the way to the car?
Right.
Did I, is it in the parking
must have
lot?
fallen out when I got in or out of the car or something.
Right.
And then, you know, realizing when they found, you know, when it said they found it in the affidavit.
Right. Now, because
There
I'm
it
a little
is.
nutty about this case, not only did I buy the same camera that's at Linda Lane, but I did buy a 7-inch serrated edge K-bar knife so that I
Okay.
could just feel it myself and feel what it's, just see if
Sure.
there was anything derived from that.
Uh-huh.
But I tell you what, somebody in a chat was like, it might have been 12 Gauge Phillips. I don't know if you know him. He does a great show, but might have been him. Said just to scrape it across your arm, see if what it does. That thing took the hair right off my arm, just a slight little scrape. So
Okay.
now I don't know if it's just me because of the connection and knowledge of the case, or just that experiment where it's like, I got a rectangular bald patch on my arm now because of just the slightest little scrape.
Just lightly like grazing it across.
Just like that, just like what you're doing. Yes, exactly. Just took the hair right off.
So that's a sharp.
So me personally, when I have that knife, that thing is in the sheath. It's like a gun safety switch, it's really
Right. Yep.
It's like, it's just because the last thing, all I would have to do is set that on the table without the sheath and knock it off and it's land on my toe or something. Forget it. It's awful.
Yep.
So part of me wonders if he didn't go in there and at least initially was very cognizant of like, this knife can cut me, one drop of my blood puts me in front of the
Right.
Well, he didn't know then, but the firing squad,
Exactly. And this just this is my ADHD brain where you said one drop of blood. The other day when we were talking about like the scar on BK's hand, and that must have been like a really deep cut and all of that. Afterwards, all of a sudden I thought, well, wait a minute. If that happened, there would be no way he didn't drip blood all over that house. And they would have found something, and in his car. And we do know they found nothing in his car in terms of blood or so or in the house. So
I think too, if you look closely at that pullover that's to Indiana traffic stop, if you only look again, it's a same kind of thing, looking at one frame.
Right.
It looks like a scar at first, but I think it's the shadow
Yeah.
of that, it's that really low sun. You can see it blinding his dad. It's right in his eyes. Just look at the angle of all the shadows. And, there's that deep little crevice in a male wrist. It's very common. I have it.
Yeah.
Not that much. But look at the other frames of the video. There are other frames where he's taken his hand, he's moved around, and it's like, oh, Scar's gone now. He sure seems comfortable. I think he hands the license to the cop with the right hand and retrieves it back with the left. I mean, seems comfortable to show the officer both hands. So
Right.
I really think it's a nothing burger.
I do. Yeah. And people had commented he was in class, the day after or whenever as a TA. And
Right.
nobody was like, oh my gosh, he had, this horrible cut all over his hand like that. And that would have been noticed.
Yeah. I really am convinced that it's just a shadow, but I do keep going back to it just in case, just to be sure.
Right. Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Sure.
Got to keep an open mind and not just not close off all avenues of possibility. So.
Yep.
But,
absolutely.
I know you had mentioned, and I know you were going like all tangents from what you started on. I do have the if you wanted to hear what I thought is said on the what did you say to Adam? Here I can.
I mean, if you want to, we have we can add that to the segments. That's no problem.
What did you think he said? We're going for Thai, or is that something different?
No. This is when the three of them are walking down the sidewalk, and she says, "Maddie, what did you say to Adam?" But it's what the male voice is saying just prior to. But I have that in backstage. If you wanted to share it, I can. It's like 21 seconds.
Oh,
it's very short.
Let me take down this comment though, so it's not blocking.
Now I apologize. Now I've got two versions of this video on my site, but this one has subtitles that I put on the screen. I apologize to anybody who I'm influencing to what you're hearing by that.
I'm gonna go like that.
Let me make sure my volume's all the way up. Hold on, Jeff.
Yeah, look away.
Look away. Look away.
And I think it repeats a bunch of times.
Do you want me to put some sort of? Do you need us to hide the image? Oh no, I just didn't know if you needed me to hide the image for a second. I can put a banner up. I misunderstood.
Or you know what? I could. Well, no. It's
just
okay.
look away if you don't want to see it. And then
because I think enough people have said no. That's not what I hear. I hear other stuff. But this is what I heard after looping over and over and over and over again. All right, here we go.
I think the last word is unbelievable.
Wow. See, it's one of those
hear
things.
Unbelievable. And
it's like is the dress blue or is it gold or is it what's that?
Yeah,
what was that word that everybody heard differently?
Unbelievable.
Let me check. And I mean, the one thing that I pick up on is the 10 syllables. Now, maybe it's because I'm a musician and I can hear like the cadence of but you're going to ditch those guys in your inside. That's 10. So whatever, like whenever somebody says, I think I hear this the first thing I do is check it for like syllables. It's like, cause like, I don't know how you can make it work if it's like 15 syllables, but see if you just imagine it's not words, but just sounds like a musical instrument or something. So,
I hear those guys, and then I hear unbelievable.
Wait, let me try again. Yeah, I think it's one of those things too, where it's like once you hear something, it's hard to not hear and alter it. But maybe I need to put it on loop while I sleep, and then when I wake up in the morning, it'll be playing, and then I'll like wake up and say, wait, I hear something different.
It's weird when you watch, like I finally caught what was being heard in that last footage I just analyzed by listening to it in my car while I was driving around, because you're not looking,
Yeah.
so your senses are amplified when you're not focusing with
Right.
your eyes. It does make a
Yeah.
difference.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like, somebody says something and they kind of don't speak loud enough. You're like, what did you say? It
Yeah.
sure sounded like you said something that I should be angry about. No, I said, how was your day? Oh, okay. Sorry, I misheard you. The other thing that I think, now keep in mind, there's a diesel truck that's driving by at the same time this is all happening. It's very loud in the original. Actually, you know what? I think they have the original. Do you want to hear the original just so you can see what
Absolutely. Tell me
here's the
when
original. I put it in the description.
Oh, you got it. Nevada wrote this up there. What do you think they're saying? Go ahead and drop it in the chat, you guys, and I'll display it while I'm sorry. Well, I'll display it while Jeff's playing that.
Yeah, so you hear that loud truck. I mean,
I don't hear anything.
I don't think you're displaying the right screen. You have to.
Well,
you
no,
have
the
to-
sound. doesn't come.
oh, that's right. It
Shared.
opened it in a different window. Yeah,
it
hold
does
on.
it to me all the time.
Sorry about that. I wish it just tracked with me.
Tell me about it.
Actually, wait, should I show this? Because I think I got a copyright strike this is from Daily Mail. And this might have been
Oh.
the thing that took me down for 3 months. I'm not sure.
Don't show it then.
I don't
risk it.
I don't want to do
Daily
it.
Mail, I
just
don't
thought
do
of that.
videos. I do, but I do articles from Daily Mail. So now that I know that's where you got it, I'll see what-
The link to it is in the description of the video we just played.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'll
go there.
get a version that's copyright available, and we'll just do it in the next live stream. This will be a great deep
You would
dive.
never invite me back if I got it.
No.
Copyright.
Oh, we'd be the ones to get it, not you. Okay. Yeah. No. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Jeff, trust me, I'd rather have you get it. I have enough crap on my plate.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
was
would
like
rather neither of us.
I was like demonetized for 3 months.
That's
And
all.
I hadn't even made my first penny yet. My thing was showing you've accrued, like, you're up to $30. I was like, hey everybody, I'm up to $30, and then boom. And you know what's funny? They allow you to submit a rebuttal, like that's not
like
the
an
word.
appeal.
Appeal. That's it.
Yeah.
So I did a video appeal, like they said, but I didn't read the instructions close enough. So I did an appeal. I said, hey, look, you got to be able to see. I haven't even gotten up to $30 yet. I'm new at this. Help me understand what I did wrong, because I don't know what caused the strike. And I said, please, I'm just, trying to be a good guy here. They emailed me back, said, because you didn't say the name of your YouTube channel in the first 12 seconds of your appeal, we've denied your appeal. It basically talked to you in 3 months. Sorry about your luck. I was like, oh my gosh. Talk about like read the fine print.
Rigid.
That makes me livid. That makes me livid, Jeff, because I have original content that is hijacked by people who make a lot of money off of it, and I cannot enforce a copyright strike. And this is original content that I have created, I wrote, I produced, I filmed, I edited, all me, no additional content, and I have issued copyright strikes. And because it kind of depends on how popular you are on YouTube, because the popularity game wins. Just look at Sniper Wolf. It's a popularity game. And so if you're bringing in more money for YouTube, they're going to favor you. So
yeah, because I've heard that if you're like a low YouTuber like me, you deal with automated systems. You're not dealing with a human. But if you've got like 100,000 million subscribers, they got a person assigned to your case. Oh, what's your problem? Oh, we'll help you. I think I really think it does work like that. And because they just don't have the manpower,
right? It's
yeah,
revenue
they don't have the manpower to deal with like the smaller, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be automated, because too, if it's automated, I mean, somebody could just be mad at somebody and then do fake like strikes. If it was automated, and then everybody's channel would probably be taken down, because everybody's all bickering and stuff, So it's unfortunate. So to keep it from taking everybody's channel down, because they don't know if it's a real copyright strike, or unfortunately, probably yours gets in the mix, and it's like, well, we just don't have the people to like investigate it. I did have a guy that made a YouTube channel called Jeff H Productions, and put videos up attacking, you remember Detective John? Detective John was a lot of people were not liking Detective John at the time. He's a friend of mine. He always will be. Everybody's a friend of mine, which unfortunately loses me friends because I'm friends with everybody. I'm a Christian. Sorry. That's what God told me to do. But so this guy was very upset with Detective John. He made a bunch of videos, just trashing Detective John and called it Jeff H. Productions. And I got a call from Detective John. And he was very upset with me. He's like, "You're going to pull those videos down." I said, "What videos are you even talking about?" And he pointed me in the direction of that website, the YouTube channel. And it's like, holy crap. I said, "John, I got no time to be editing videos like this. Whoever does has way too much time on their hands and too much hatred in their heart." I said, "This is not me." And so he quickly realized, like, this isn't you. What the heck is going on here? So you know what I did? As a video editor, I know that Kiki, we reuse transitions over and over again that we like. And I was like, you know what? Whoever edited this, they probably have their own channel. And I had a feeling who it was. I said, I bet in one of their legitimate videos, they probably use this transition that they used in the videos attacking Detective John. And lo and behold, it's 25 frame blur wipe to the horizontal wipe is in. And I made a video where I put them side by side so you can see them. It's like exactly it. It didn't matter, though, because soon after that, he did a video where he was trashing me. He took videos of me on stage playing guitar, making me look like a fool. So I think everybody knew it's like, okay, wait, Jeff wouldn't like trash himself.
Captain Obvious.
I don't like this.
Did this person get shut down, or are they still operating?
They eventually took the videos down. I think it was pretty quick too, unless he took them down. I don't know, but it was like 1 or 2 days later, the videos were gone, but the site was still there. And but I don't want to trash the guy any more than I already have, because I try to be kind, and I try to tell him, it's like, dude, you are a better editor than me. Why are you wasting your time? I try to compliment him and say, look, you don't need to be going after people that you don't like. God will sort that out. Everything will work out fine. And also too, I grew up in the days of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. So if you're triggered by words that people are using, or people are using about your friends, what the heck, man? Come on. This isn't grade school playground,
I agree with you. I don't get involved in the drama. Do I, Kiki?
No.
I'm not interested.
I'm grateful that
at all.
I'm grateful.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I just want to interject for a second, you guys. So sorry to interrupt. So when I started the live stream, I listed out the segments we were doing, and ironically, the next segment was on WSU Mom Kim, and it looks like WSU Mom Kim is here with us.
Oh, is she gonna come on?
Listen, if you want to come on, Kim, we would be grateful. I'm going to set this up just so you guys know. I'm going to set up the next segment. The reason I was compelled to do this is because recently, by about 2.5 million subs, I've been labeled as giving the worst interview on YouTube. And it really sucks. And it made me think about my actions. And I remember that, what's his face from Drunk Turkey, Dan, I was critical of his interview, but not in a way that I thought it was a bad interview, just because I wanted him to ask more hard-hitting questions. And now I realize how foolish that was to criticize someone. You have parameters and boundaries in every interview, and the end product doesn't necessarily, you have to have those boundaries, because nobody would ever come onto your interview if you didn't set them. And so I wanted to today revisit that interview for that one reason and just listen to it. So I just want you to know, if you want to come up and say anything, we're nothing but welcoming and kind. We just have so much questions about a couple things you said. The first one being about the children still being in danger. I didn't know if you meant that just in the present tense, or if you meant that in general, that they still might be in danger. And then I have a couple other random questions. I think we should pull up the video, Jeff. If you want to hang around for it, it's fine. I'm going to drum.
Sure. I just think a few more minutes. I should be working on a video project, but I'll give you 5 more minutes, and then I'll decide. Should I go? Should I stay?
All right.
Should I stay or should I go now?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to drop
this me, right? That's
okay. There you go, Kim. And it's up to you. No pressure. You can show your picture or not. There's all sorts of features when you come on to StreamYard. You can work on your background, your appearance. So just when you're comfortable, let us know, and I'll let you through on screen. Just wave to me. So, and let's pull up the video. This is a great video. Go to Drunk Turkey Show. They've got everything documented. I have actually edited this video, so that's what's nice about it. We've cut out a lot of the.
Oh, she said you guys don't need the chaos that it will cause.
That's fine. We'd love to hear your opinions in the live chat, and you do whatever you feel doing. We're not here to put anyone on the spot. That's
But we don't mind any chaos if you wanted to come up. Don't worry about us.
You have no idea. There is no chaos you can bring me. There is no insult that can be given to me that's worse than what I've had in the last 3 weeks because I interviewed Ashley Gilliard. So there were a lot of people who had opinions on that. And so anyway, don't worry about that. Don't worry about
it. I could care less what, I always say it's not my business what other people think of me.
Also, too, don't you feel like if somebody has an opinion on something and maybe they're a little hot about it, aren't we humans? Can we have an opinion today and have a different one tomorrow?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't see I see no reason to get mad at somebody who's got a different opinion, because like if it doesn't change, one of two things happen. They're set in their ways, or maybe they're correct and I'm wrong, or maybe my ability to convince them just sucks. So it could be me.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got this up, and I'm just looking to see. I'll look at the chat in a second. I'm going to play this, and we're going to let it play through so we're not interrupting, because one of the worst things we can do is just pick people's words out randomly. So let's let the sentences finish. And here we go. But like I said, but if you want to say something, just
is this Kim you're going to play video on?
This is Kim, and Luke Carter is her alias.
Gotcha. Sorry, Kim. I didn't know.
So I was with my daughter at 10 a.m. So she was awake at 10 a.m.
Okay.
She did not tell me about it at 10 a.m. because this mom would have brought her ass home, straight home with her brother, would have taken both my kids, packed them up and brought them home. They know their mother. So yes, I believe my daughter knew at 10. I believe they all knew at 10 a.m. I didn't know that the police didn't know at 10 a.m. till the following day when the news came out and said noon, right? Nor did she. They didn't know either. They figured that obviously the police and parents knew, but what she didn't offer the information to me because she didn't want to come home from school. She loved school. That's really, truly the information I had. I have more information about who was there in the morning, the roommates.
But that information that you have from who was there and who possibly was there, it's not coming from Dylan, is it? It's not coming from Bethany. So whoever
it did not come from Dylan or Bethany, no.
Okay, so whoever it's coming from, it's not from the source. So it's just a rumor. So
absolutely.
So how much of that rumor is true is unknown, and we'll know in court. It sounds like it's pretty much, in my opinion, straightforward as to who was it and when it happened. I think they got the right guy. But, if somebody wants to go down that rumor mill with you, I don't think that's really, your fault for being the person answering the question. I kind of fault the other creator or whoever's asking the question to go down that rabbit hole with you, because, anybody can do that, and then turn that into fact. Now,
exactly, Daniel. That is actually in hindsight. If I could go back, I would have my purpose in calling other creators when they said my name or said something about me was to correct something they had said about me that was not correct, or something they quoted I said that wasn't correct. In hindsight, I would have just called you and just told you and said, this guy's saying this, and can we correct that? But I didn't know. And being naive is not an excuse. It's not. It isn't. Right. I needed to be, I'm an adult. I'm an intelligent adult, educated adult. I should have done it better, and I wish I had. But when people asked me what I thought and what I felt, yes, I would go down that rabbit hole with them, not even thinking of the consequences. Because for me, I'm just saying, well, maybe, coulda, woulda. But in hindsight, that was my bad. And I can't take it back. If I could, I would, but I can't. So I apologize. And I have apologized and reached out and apologized to the families for things I have misspoken that came out wrong, incorrectly. But my purpose has never been to be harmful or to be to disregard these families or to make these. Look, if one of my boys brought one of those girls home, I'd be like, ka-ching, we just won the lotto. This girl's a gem. Honestly, I judge none of them. College is for one-offs. College is to party. College is to have fun. And they, in my opinion, did nothing wrong.
Right.
That's what I believe, wholly and with all my heart. And I feel bad that things have been mistaken and could have hurt people. I truly do. And to do it over, I do it over. I don't know if I'd even go on YouTube.
I just want to, I have to pause for a second because sorry, I just wanted, since I was paused naturally in the video there, I just want to throw some questions out to the ether. They're not directed at you, Kim. You don't have to answer them. They're just the questions that first comes to my mind. I'm thinking, do you know if somebody was rushed to the hospital that morning? Did you ever hear your daughter speak of anything of that? Because that's been a huge topic on our channel lately. And we also want to know, did the LE ever collect your daughter's phone or any of the other children's phone for evidence? I also want to know, and you don't have to answer this again, I'm just throwing this out into the ether, but it appeared on the Drunk Turkey show that you guys were referencing that your daughter's testimony might be part of the case, so she couldn't speak on it. I don't want to allude to anything, but it sounded like you were talking about maybe an alibi. And did you ever hear anything about another witness, a fifth witness? So again, I'm just throwing this into the ether. Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to play the. I understand that there were rabbit holes and there were things mentioned on, but I never think that anybody strayed from the primary story. He gives her a way out. He gives her an out. He says, maybe your daughter was asleep until noon and she thought it was 10 a.m. when she read it. And then Kim says, no, I know, I picked her up at 10 a.m. Let's keep listening and then we'll rewind it.
To be honest, but I wanted to keep it out there, and I wanted people to know that maybe these kids aren't safe, and I still feel that kids might not be safe still. I can't, and that was my whole message.
Why does she think the kids aren't safe still? Now that's interesting. I mean, so that's the other thing, Kim, I wanted to ask you is, did you mean that in past tense, just that morning you were concerned, or before they had the right person or they had somebody in custody, you were concerned about the kids' safety? Or are you just saying in general, you are concerned about the kids' safety? It was interpreted two different ways in my chat. So again, not putting you under pressure, just throwing questions into the ether. She feels the kids aren't safe still? In this interview, she does also talk about thinking they have the right person. So does she think there's an accomplice? Does she think there's a secondary crime going on? I wonder what she means by the kids aren't safe still. The kids, she just, they're going to school there right now, I guess, but.
Yeah, no, yeah. And that's kind of what I took away from it as well when we talked, and like I said, we talked an extensive amount before anything was aired. I know that there was one time we may have gone a little bit down the rabbit hole because we're probably consuming a little bit too much alcohol, but but
I still will reach out to you when something goes down.
Yeah,
you're the first person I text. You know that.
yeah. I think that was a show with myself, yourself, and Lena from TNT, and that one ended abruptly. Right. Yeah, that one was a good one.
Right.
But yeah, we went down the rabbit hole in that situation.
Right.
And I realized then too, it was like, hey, I mean, I know we're just, I don't see myself as a detective trying to solve the case. Just a podcast. In that situation, maybe we probably shouldn't have gotten as lit as we did on that one.
Well,
so,
right. I mean, it was, and you know what? It's being new and learning and growing with this is as a thing. And I actually will say to you that I probably you'll never hear about me after this case. Probably. I hope not. I hope I never have any more information. But I will always text you something. I'll always shoot you something because you are a trustworthy person. I trust you. Honestly, thank goodness that who I was looking for wasn't who I got. Do you know what I mean? I
yeah,
got you. And Blue. You know I love myself some Blue. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
just think that I just you know, I'm not trying to lie to people. I'm not
Right.
you don't have to
Vicky,
believe me. I'm just warning parents of
Kim
people.
just answered in
And
the
that was
chat.
always my
Oh,
goal
hold
and my
on. Let me
purpose.
pause it.
And I want
Yeah.
to be wrong.
Just she was just answering your question about what do they fear, and she said, yes, I have a fear they are not safe. I transferred my son out. So I guess she still feels that the students aren't safe.
Thank you for answering the question.
Thanks,
We
Kim.
really appreciate that. Thank you. And I'll start this again.
Sorry to interrupt. I just
No, I'm glad you did. It's more, nobody cares.
I'm watching the chat too to just
And I mean, this case is on the forefront of our mind. They don't care what I think. People care what Kim thinks. She's closer to the situation.
connected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, starting.
I want to not know what I know.
Right.
I wish I never knew anything. It was never, I don't want to be discovered. Honestly, how long did it take my face to come out? And it's
What do you mean by his normal channel? He has a second channel. I guess I wasn't aware of this. But if you could drop in the chat what his second channel is, so I'm like in the loop about what's going on. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't, I don't know if he created a problem, but what he's saying is, I don't know how we went down this rabbit hole. And what I'm saying is there is no rabbit hole. Her whole story is her whole story is the rabbit hole. So let me go back to tell you what I'm saying. I really want you. I also want to clarify what I said because I wasn't really articulate in that day. As you can see, my hair is like disheveled and everything. When I mean the whole thing is a rabbit hole, I'm not articulating myself well. What I mean is how important what you're saying is. Not because I think it changes the initial crime. I just think that there's more to the story and we're all trying to put the pieces together and we fill them in with a lot of ideas and thoughts. And having an important detail like that makes it easier for us to put the segmented information that we have together. So rabbit hole is the wrong word. I just felt it was really important information, and all the other little rabbit holes that trailed off after that, it takes away from the important thing that you have to say. And I saw that you had another comment. Hold on.
Yeah.
I was told by ISP, the officer assigned to us, there were parallel crimes. You just validated everything I've ever thought, because I remember the police constantly saying, kids, give us your cell phones, give us your data. We're not after you. We want to get the big fish. You're not in trouble. And so, I don't know if it's that there was something going on with the kids, or if a parallel crime means that the person they have in custody was committing another crime at the same time. So I think it could mean either way. What do you think, Chia?
Yeah, are you talking about like they could have been investigating like a drug type crime at the same time and the murders happened?
Yeah, I think that could be an angle that
I don't definitely know. I absolutely think that's the case. Yeah. But I don't think they're related.
That's the key thing. Agreed.
But I don't think they're related parallel without crossing, like just remaining parallel, just kind of happening at the same time.
The schools lack transparency, and Moscow is its own country, like a lot of small towns, USA. But that's interesting. I mean, a lot of people talk about that too. Plus, it's a little.
It's one of those things where it's a town that I believe is from things I've heard. This person went to that person's wedding for their daughter. That's it's, everybody knows everybody
Yeah.
over there, and not everybody, but you know, it's one of those types of things.
Yeah.
And you know, this is, and it's a real wake up call to like, gosh, we, you know, we were so safe, and then all of a sudden, you know, all of a sudden this happened. And which makes me like it lean towards like, gosh, it sounds like somebody, you know, there's that old BB King song with the U2, the guy from U2, you know, when love came to town is the chorus, right? Sorry, I'm a musician there. I see everything
Sing a little
related
for
that
us.
way.
Jeff.
Else here, Jeff.
Sing a
Wait, it's
little.
like BB King's because it's BB King that sings that line. When love came to town, you know. Okay,
Very much
that's
like
all you're gonna get.
BB.
No, but isn't it like, doesn't it makes me stop and think? It's like, okay, this small town went this long, nothing like this happened. Could it be somebody that came from like all the way across the country? You know, wasn't here before, they're here now. And the person they've arrested, how long were they there? Wasn't even a year. I mean, is it possible that this new you know, this new addition to their town? And again, I mean, I don't know. It's like, you know, everybody that looks at any possibility of it. Well, if it's this person, this might be the reason they did it. Or if it's that person, this might be, you know, Jack D, they just broke up. Could it be Jack D? You know, we all thought it was the Jacks until the police went to work. And like I like to say, they said, hold my beer. And they went to work and came up with, who would have guessed this guy? But is it like, do you get so angry if this is what happened? You get so angry that this little town didn't hire you in your big education, and they're like, "Nah, we got it. We don't need you." And did that feel like to him? It's like, man, this feels like when I was fat and all the women would reject me, and then I got in shape, and then the women still rejected me, and now their employment opportunities are rejecting me. It's like, you know what? I'm so smart. I could help these people solve these crimes. Or because they're not going to hire me, do I give them a crime they can't solve because I know I can get away with it? I've had all these people that responded to these research questions have educated me in a way I would have never thought. Maybe it was even that. It's like I never thought about being on that side of the equation. You know, it's like in Star Wars. Are you you know, in the dark side of the Force? You're on the light side of the Force. You know, so you have a choice. And like, I don't know, can a person get that mad? And, you know, does he truly have a record of like, I have this job, now I've lost this job. I have this job, now I've lost this job. This job I can't even get started in. I can't get. Why would they not hire me? Clearly, I'm the best, you know, almost. Gosh, the tonal voice I'm hearing in my head as I'm saying this is like the Elliot Rodgers guy. You know, why on these? It's, you know, that incel type of tone. Like, I deserve this, you know.
I want to see that. I want to before I want to make sure Kim, we get some questions to Kim too before while she's in the live chat. We're on the subject too. Kim, I don't know if you want to answer this, but did the police?
Oh, she said she tried to come up and it won't let her.
Oh, well, let me send you a fresh link. So sorry about that. Maybe I have to take. Maybe I'm only allowed to have limited things. I thought I was allowed to have as many as I.
I can jump off if that's the
No,
I don't know.
no, I just don't know if I had to take the screen out. That maybe I have to stop sharing my screen. Hold on. There we go. Give that a try, Kim. And then I'll see if I'll try to star any other. If you guys have something, you know, appropriate you want to ask Kim, just throw it in the chat and I'll put a star on it. The one thing I keep coming back to with all the debunking of all the different people that have been involved in this case is Kopaka, which I feel like I shouldn't be calling him Kopaka and like he's saying his name out loud until we know there's some sort of connection. I was suggested to me by Jay Embry that we call him Alpaca. So maybe I'll just call him that from this point forward, if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about. But I can't stop thinking of Alpaca. And I think Truth and Transparency put a lot of this into my head because when they did their Freedom of Information Act and they ordered that body cam footage, I saw things on there that just baffled me. And like the one thing I keep coming back to is the roommate who, not the roommate, the guy within the building who, when the SWAT team came in, they set up shop in his apartment and they used his furniture to make barricades, and he was making them snacks and bringing them drinks like with this active shooter right next door. And I can't explain that. And that's what kind of started me down the alpaca route. And there's just so many weird coincidences.
Is that also like a small town friendliness that you would expect from small town? Like if a police officer got a flat tire, people come by, hey, let me help you. I got a jack that's better than what you got. Let me help you out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that's not a parallel.
No,
but
Kiki and I grew up in a town exactly like that.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
I still, all these years later, know the police officers when I go back home.
And when it comes to like trying to keep people alive, I mean, you go to all lengths, I would think. And if a citizen is willing to be helpful and like it's the best strategic location to be in, I mean, I don't know what rules there are legally, maybe because see, that's the thing. I sometimes like in a bigger town, like maybe there's legal rules against, using somebody's apartment. You'll end up in a courtroom later. But small town people are like, that's the ridiculous kind of stuff. That's the legal stuff that blocks people from just doing what they know is the right thing to do. And it's like helping out. So maybe in a small town, you're more apt to see things like, hey, just use my apartment. Hey, here's a key. I'll be back later.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I know when I went to Vermont, where was it? It was
New
a lighting
Hampshire.
workshop up in Rhode Island, Rockport, Maine.
Mhm.
No, Maine. Rockport, Maine lighting workshops. Great place. We met some local people there, and we went to like a restaurant, and they drove because we don't have our cars. This person parked, threw their keys up onto the dashboard, and we went in. I was like, "You're just gonna leave your keys on the dashboard?" She's like, "Yeah, that's what we do." Like, wow, I feel like I'm on a different planet, I mean, this is outside of a restaurant bar. I mean, this is where you would think you possible type of person that might steal your car. This would probably be where they'd be in any normal situation that I think of.
So
Yeah.
we've got so Kim's having trouble getting onto StreamYard. Does anyone have any thoughts what I could be doing wrong? Because they're sending her the invite link to her and she's having trouble coming up. I am
Are you
dying.
sending it to her email?
No, I'm sending it to the live chat.
I know, I can see it in the live chat. Maybe it's something.
You know what
with
I
that.
could do? I can jump off and then I can try the link that you just sent to see if it works for me.
Okay,
That'd be
go ahead.
really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
All right.
great.
I'll be right back if it works.
Thanks, Jeff.
If I don't come right back, then that probably means I went to doing the work that I was supposed to be doing.
Well,
Part of me hopes
at least write in the chat.
I will. I'll let you know.
Jeff, thanks for your time. We
Sure
appreciate
thing. I
it.
appreciate it.
If
Thanks
you
for
don't
having
come
me.
back, if-
You guys are great.
You
All right,
too.
thanks.
Thank you. So we're going to do a test, and I just have to say this comment takes my breath away, Kim. I would love, I know you probably are very limited in what you can say, but we can infer a lot of things from that comment. And I know we all are working with the same amount of information, but you come from a place where you can hear what people are saying around you. You can hear the rumors, you can hear the word on the street. And even though it might not be, based in some sort of tangible evidence, sometimes the word on the street is more reliable than anything else, certainly anything in mainstream media. So we are very interested in anything you have to say. But I just think that's a fascinating statement. And the fact that Jeff isn't back up here makes me think there's something wrong with him. Here we go. It's a small town, and most children of big families attend UII. That's interesting. All right, here's Jeff.
Oh, he got back on. Or did you use the old link?
The last one, I went. I was sure I clicked live, so I was looking at the most recent comments, and I just scrolled up just a little bit to it. So,
all right. So Kim, if you can hear, give it one more shot, and then
maybe sometimes things when they just don't work like they should. You restart your computer, and then everything can sometimes just goes right back.
Or log out and log back in sometimes to like StreamYard even or YouTube.
So this is another really fascinating, and I think all of our subscribers should pay attention to what WSU Mom Kim is saying right now. Pavarotti is interesting. What he's been saying is so close to the info that I was given early on, with the exception of Ethan. And if you don't know anything about Pavarotti, he is, as far as I understand, a retired detective. Jay Embray is the name of his channel. And he did a reaction video to me recently, so we've featured him. I encourage you. First off, he's a great presenter. So it's a good listen. But second, I mean, he's got unique, really incredible, insightful information.
Do you have a link to that you could share? Because I think I've seen
Here
his
she is.
stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. Welcome.
Yeah. Do we have a link that you could share to that reaction video? Is that what you mean, Jeff?
I absolutely.
Or just to his, yeah. Well, I'd love to see that.
his
Yeah, I mean,
channel.
that'll get me to his channel as well. But
Okay, I'm just gonna welcome Kim. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
So,
hi, Kim.
Hi. How are you, Jeff?
Good. Good.
Hey, will you if you've spoken with John, just nobody deserves that. He's in my heart and my prayers. It doesn't,
Oh yeah,
at the end of the day.
definitely. Yeah, he's going through some stuff right now
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
is
know.
very tough. Yeah.
Very tough. So I know that, anyway, but I just want to put that out there. I mean, nobody deserves that. I don't care how we feel about each other. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's a person.
Same, Jeff. I agree with Kim. Please pass along our.
Yeah, there's a thing when things happen to, in a family and stuff that is just like, okay, now we just set aside anything that has been an issue or a problem in the past for just to say, wow, I'm sorry. And,
Right. It doesn't matter. Nothing's more important now than.
And everybody, everybody does the things they do for a reason.
Sure.
It's not like it's just like, hey, I'm just, unless you're totally intoxicated or drugged or have lost your mind, but there's things that irritate. Isn't it funny that the things that we found irritating about him, there's a lot of people in the YouTube community are really like doing the same kind of stuff and really being very critical of what others are saying, what others are doing. And that's kind of normal, isn't it?
It really
Like,
isn't.
just like
It's fine. I don't care. Nobody has to believe me. I know that I'm not lying and want to be wrong with a lot of the things I've known. And I've said it for, I feel like, the right reasons. Now, I should have done it differently, obviously. But I didn't. And that's just where we are. Right? That's just where, you learn, unfortunately, But at the end of the day, I think we all have the same goal.
But it would be worse though if you took what and just kept it to yourself. I mean, I think it's and that's true with everybody. I mean, that's why I think it's just because we want to hear everything so that we can process everything and figure out what's the most plausible, what's possible, and
right. And it was alarming to discover that time delay. Not that my daughter didn't tell me. I totally get it. I would have packed them up so lickety split they would have been home that day. Because we were there, it was Parents' Weekend. Right? We had been told, and that's likely why they didn't tell us any of the parents at either school until later. Well, like right before they put out the shelter in place, and then like within 10 minutes it was gone, and it was, you're free to go, everybody's safe. I'm like, did they catch it? And they didn't even they hadn't even caught him. They couldn't tell us who, why, what, where. They could only tell us nothing, and then. But they were safe. It was targeted, or the house was targeted, which now it's, I don't think it's just targeted. I think it's probably just Greek Row on both campuses, which are the targets, because I think that's where these people are kind of infiltrating these bubbles that we've created for our kids, and drugs are rampant. And I didn't know that with my daughter because she's in a sorority and she doesn't that wasn't her thing. I mean, honestly, maybe, I don't know, but she certainly drank enough. But my son, he got into a frat and he dropped within a week. He dropped the house, which is unheard of. They offered him drugs like the first day, and so I called the police department and they said, oh yeah, we have a heroin problem too. And I'm like, and what are you doing? I mean, they probably know me by name, my voice at this point, because all I did was like, what are you going to do about it? Every time you turn around, there's something there. There was just, we arrested for sexual assault against a sorority girl, fraternity guy. He's been arrested.
That was on U of I campus?
WSU. But they're like 5 minutes from each other. I mean, it's 15 minutes on the map, but now, WSU, the girl, at least my daughter and her friends, did not cross over when they turned 21 to go to the Corner Club or any of the bars there, because they knew about danger. They've had a lot of trafficking. They call it programming when they have to take classes. Every house has to take classes for education, social awareness, and all the new rules and things. So they knew about trafficking. They know about. I was really shocked at all the knowledge they'd given her, and glad that they had. But now Wazoo is a dry Greek well, completely 100% dry, because of this last incident.
Now, can I ask you on that same subject?
Mhm.
There's a bar at WSU called the Cougar Cottage. Are you familiar with it?
The Coug, yeah.
The Coug.
Yes.
Okay. Did your children ever frequent there?
Oh, we all did.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a fun bar. It's a really fun bar. Everybody goes there. It's packed, and everybody goes there, and to V Hall, which is another bar which has a DJ and stuff there. But there's nothing really to do but go to the bars or Greek Row. And if you're not Greek, you can't go on Greek. But when they turn 21, they all go to the Coug, and then you write your name on the wall. In fact, there's a picture of Xana and Jasmine with their dad from Parents Weekend. Would have been Jasmine and Peyton's junior year, maybe.
I was wondering that because I wasn't sure because it was a bar if they allowed underage kids there, because I'd heard Xana might visit her sister at WSU and go to the Coug occasionally.
Well, I saw a picture of her in front of it, but no. Is it a bar during the day? I mean, I can't. Well, it must be a restaurant during the day because our son wasn't 21, and we went in and had lunch on the patio. But then I think it turns to a bar in the evening, and you can't get in, and they ID everybody, including me, and I'm 58. Yeah, so everybody has to have their ID.
That's great. That answers like so many questions for me, because I have questions about that Coug for other reasons. I don't know, Kim. I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but have you heard any rumblings on the street about this naked man theory about somebody that ran by Bethany's window?
I thought I had heard it, but I've never heard it anywhere but maybe just out there. Nobody's ever said, Beth. Well, no, I've never heard a naked man. I did hear that Bethany and Dylan had both seen the people who were there, and they thought it was a party and locked themselves in the downstairs bedroom. And
that was the initial reports.
Yeah, that's what was initially in the Snapchat group Snapchats that were sent, which is how my daughter found out at 10.
Did the police ever collect your daughter's phone?
No, they didn't collect the phone, and they could have. I offered them our cloud and our passwords, and they could take any of it for any social media.
Didn't take any of it? Is that what you just said?
I don't know if they did, because I only give them. So when I called in, obviously I don't get information back, but when they assigned us an ISP officer who would call and ask me questions, or if I found something out, I would call him and tell him, and he offered. So you get to know them, and then you're talking, and one thing leads to another, and they say things in conversation. They're people, and so he would confirm that when I discovered there might be an alibi that wasn't right, and I was having a hard time figuring it out, I just thought, well, I'm just going to tell them what I know. And he said, we were figuring there was an alibi. That's not correct. They knew that already, so it just corroborated it. And it was just about, and I honestly have I believe that Jack D didn't have anything to do with it. He might have known that there was going to be kind of a shakedown, but I don't think any of these kids knew what was going to come of this whole thing. I don't. I think they just got in over their heads, and something went sideways. And I actually don't even think, I don't even know. Well, I actually shouldn't. When I stop and I think, because I want to stop and think before I speak, because I can ramble, right? That's why Daniel keeps me in my lanes, so you can feel free to keep me in my lanes. But I'm not so sure that Ethan's death was by the same. for the same reason. Just it wasn't just because he was there. I think that other things went down with the fraternity. That's my opinion, allegedly, from things I've heard, and I did hear from Sigma Chi. They did tell me that when I spoke with the boys through another creator, that there was a fight, and hazing's really bad. It's really bad, especially for fraternities, and it's not legal for a reason. So I don't know, but all of these fraternities are, well, I know for a fact that one of the houses at WSU was dealing, and where they were getting the product from. And they're not in jail anymore. So I don't, and Caden Young is gone. And why? Like, and why are they out of jail if they believe that
That's going back to what Pavarotti's been saying, correct?
I don't know who he is. And I said to him, I have no idea who you are. You're either a bad guy or you're a marshal, a U.S. Marshal, because I don't know why you have all of this information, because this is the information that we had in the very beginning, that was given to us in the very beginning, or that was given to myself through these kids in the beginning, and then through phone calls and stuff. I mean, people come out of the woodwork and tell me things, and I just reported it. And even if they didn't want me to, but that dot. Now, I don't know about anything other than the fact that she had information she shouldn't have had. Now, was she speaking for somebody else? Was she a guy speaking for somebody? I don't know. But, she was in distress. And when she called me, and I said, are you safe? Do you have a place to sleep? And do you have food? Because I would have sent her a Venmo and she didn't want any of that. I said, can I call the FBI? And she said, will you please? And I said, yes. So I did. So she gave me nothing. So I'm not going to judge her. I don't know what she knows, or if she's speaking for somebody else, or which could be. I don't know.
Did Dot come through you? Were you the initial contact with Dot?
No, I wasn't. Dot.
Was
Dot
it Brad Nortonson?
Yeah, it was Brad. And I got to tell you something about Brad too. Brad's she's a good kid. She's a good girl. She really is a good girl. And I think her intentions were always in the right place. They always are in the right place. And I've never caught her lying. And I've had her checked out. My cousins think they're funny. They keep changing my name and they do this cyber stuff. So I have had her checked out. I don't have any reason that I'm not going to believe anybody in anything until we know we don't know.
Are you familiar with Dave, who made the phone call in?
Yes, I've never spoken with Dave. I know who Dave is. I don't know okay, let me take this back. I don't know his real name. And I told Daniel that we were talking one day, and I said, well, who is he? And I said, wait a minute, don't tell me his name, because I'll screw it up and I'll slip. I'll give it up. And so we kind of laughed, because I will. But I was able to deduce who he is, actually. And because Sigma Chi was looking for him to shut him up. And they went and they found the wrong person to shut up. And they admitted that on What's the Obsession. So why does Sigma Chi want to shut Dave up? What is he saying? He's not in their fraternity. He's in a different fraternity.
I had not heard that. That's on What's the... I'm going to go catch up on all that. I didn't know that, because I've always believed Dave. And I asked you if you knew him, because I didn't know if you heard him say the reason he actually called in was because of you.
I did hear that. And actually Olivia asked me to do the Paramount thing. I didn't want to do the Paramount thing. I vacillated all the way to the point of being a half hour late for, and then having them make me look like my 81-year-old mother. And because I didn't have any makeup on, and I'm like, oh my God, really? And honestly, it was vanity that brought my face out onto Daniel's show and that picture. Because I'm like, dude, but it was a stressful, I didn't realize the stress that it had taken on my body. And after we did that
I put the kids on a plane and we went to the Hamptons, and spent the summer there. So I was more rested when you saw the last picture. But I'm nothing. It's not vain. But so now I forgot the question. Oh, what was the question?
We're talking about Dave. If you knew that you were the one who inspired, he was like, you know what? I felt like that was my mom telling me do the right thing, and that's why he called in. That's why I believe him. But he backs up what you're saying about drug use, and that's the only other legitimate place I've ever heard this affiliation before. So
right, and that's what the hope was with Olivia, and was that more people will come out if you talk more publicly, because people have to come out of the woodwork. And then a few more things did come out. People did call after that, and I turned it over, and I can't say what that is. It's not, I mean, I will say that this Pavarotti, whoever he is pretty right on about a lot of things. Not everything. I can't vet him, but I've heard probably 90% of the things he said. A couple of things I think I've heard different things about, like, well, I don't even want to say that the moms had anything to do with this happening to these girls. I don't even want to go there.
Okay.
You know what? In my brain, in my heart, right? How absolutely tragic if indeed this was some kind of retaliatory thing for the mother's turning, like he's saying. And I've just, anytime anybody said that to me, I just don't want to hear it. There's some things I've learned you can't hear. It's too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's too much. And my Jasmine, Xana's sister, they know each other distantly. They're different sorority houses, but they graduated in the same class together. So, but she was blurred on the TV, and I didn't go to my daughter's graduation for safety reasons. So I was able to watch it from home because we could stream it in, but I didn't go to her graduation. It was safer not to. And when I was in Moscow doing Paramount, and first of all, I want everybody to know, I did not get paid to do it. I don't want any money off of this. Any money that I would have made or they would have given me, I would go straight to any foundation for these kids. I don't want anything. I just want these kids to be safe and justice for these families. And I want the world to be a better place. And us to start talking to our kids more. We have to educate our kids more. Stranger danger still happens.
Mm-hmm.
So they paid for my airfare. They wanted me to fly over, which was better. And then my hotel, in a secure hotel, and I had an armed guard when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Do you think will you be appearing on that series again when they come out with the new?
Well, did they say they're having a new one?
I heard that in Discord. It might have been incorrect information. It was just
they told me it was going to be 5 episodes, and I haven't even. I caught a glimpse of myself on one of the reels. I'm like, I don't listen to myself typically. I hate my voice on the radio.
I know. I think everyone does. I do too.
I just hate it all of it, and so I cringe. And I know but so the only time. So I really don't listen to myself, and I trust the people I speak with. It's the people who take it and twist it around and turn it all around that I want to straighten out, but I can't fix them. You can go anywhere. Anybody can call anybody, and that I've been on their panel or their show and spoken to. I mean, even Lana I've spoken to, and Lana will put you through the ringer. And she is very thorough, and she is very black and white. And that's a really great thing to be, because that's balance, right? Out there. I mean, she's not afraid to say anything. Now, I wouldn't always say some of the things she says, but she wouldn't always say some of the things I say. But I respect her very much. I do.
Well, the one thing that's most impressive to me about you, Kim, is, you keep saying you've suffered this grief from going on, trying to talk to people about things and having you feel like your words have been twisted, but you still want to come out and you have the courage to say, no, I'm trying to bring attention. I'm just telling you what I know. You're not adding anything. You're not embellishing anything. You're just saying, look, this is the information I know. I don't know what it means, but I'm not going to shut my mouth up about it. I'm going to say something. And on that same note, is there one particular thing that you would, like, us as creators, us who are investigating this, you think that maybe we should lean our internet investigating towards, or just things that we should keep looking at that you could suggest to us?
The fraternities and the sororities.
Okay.
I think that these kids go to college and they come from homes that they don't know. At least my children. I guess I can't speak for everybody else. My kids came from a bubble home, you know. I mean, they didn't. We really didn't. They didn't really watch TV. They got their grades. They do everything they're supposed to do. Growing up, they played sports and didn't have to worry about anything really except for their grades. That was their job and their sports. And then the promise was college, right? And they get their whole education. We pay for their education, and then shoe fly shoe, soar go be. And all of them to date have done that. I have 7. And so I have my last I have my last,
and I'm like, hello.
and my daughter just got a really great gig. She's just in heaven. She's a marketing major, and she's I mean, she's doing really great. But they can have as much fun as they want in college. And my husband's always said, college, there's a time and a place for everything. It's called college. Have a good time for 4 years. And then, you know, but these kids, even if they did make a mistake, it could have been any kid making a mistake, because they don't see. So I'm going to use his name because I used his name on Paramount, and I really want him to hear this. Demetrius, stay out of Pullman, stay out of Moscow. They let you out of jail. Don't ever show your ugly mug again anywhere. You are an old man, and you need to stay off campus. You deliver Emma back to her parents right now, if you have her, and you never go near these kids again. You're a dog, and dogs belong in a kennel. So don't go back. He knows what he does. He's not a promoter. Well, he is a promoter. But Emma's mom, what she had to say about him is not incorrect. All the girls know that. The boys know that. He is put them at great risk. And he thinks he's charming. He thinks he's handsome with his one purple suit. Who is he? Honestly, I'd love to. And he grew up and I'm not sure if his uncle or his dad is related to the basketball player, but I don't know why he keeps getting out of jail, because he's got a rap sheet a mile long.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I think if I'm gonna turn to a creator, maybe I'll go to Jay Embry with some of these questions. And I appreciate you speaking up and making a statement like that on my channel.
Is that okay? I hope that's okay. I just think that parents need to have boys are at as much risk as girls now. They really are. And they just have to, parents have to sit them down. And all parents from both of these schools should be sitting their kids down and saying, what happened?
Amen.
And then they should tell the police. They all know. But you know, you don't talk. Angry girl. It's ridiculous. I asked my daughter what they did for her initiation, and she looked at me like I had just asked her to say she didn't believe in God. The eyes on her were as big as like headlights, and she's like, oh, how could you ever ask? I'm like, well, you know, I paid for it. I thought I should ask.
My gosh, it's so fascinating talking to you, Kim. Do you mind if I ask you another kind of question?
Ask me anything. Ask me anything. That's fine.
Do you happen to know who discovered Ethan?
I know what I've been told, and but I'm not sure I believe that. I think that we were all given the narrative that Hunter Johnson was the one who discovered him. because he was only able to open that door. Now, I'm sorry, but I could move a mountain if I thought my friends were in harm's way from all the noise you'd heard the night prior. And they'd have, so he was there first. So that makes sense that it was him. But do I actually know who did it? I don't know if Hunter Johnson actually at this point did or not. I do believe that, well, Demetrius and Emma were probably there.
We've heard that from Dot.
Yeah, how did she know that? She knew other things too that I had known and really won't say, can't say. And you don't want to hear it anyway, truly. But yeah, I mean, Dot knows a lot. So I don't know if Dot is speaking for somebody else, and because Dot's terrified and knows it has to get out there, or played a part, or yeah, she had a lot of information that makes me not believe her.
It's hard for me because, I've certainly met some incredible con artists in my day, but when I hear Dot, just like Dave, I feel like they're trying to tell me a story that they're repeating. I know that she's added a few things, but the story I don't feel changed in all the segments I watched, but I've only listened to a handful of things.
Yes, none of her story I have never heard it change. And she got mad at me once, and I didn't realize it was her. And then I reached out to her and I said, I'm not saying you, Dot, I don't think you're lying. I don't have any judgment or any reason to believe you're lying at all. She's never done anything to make me think that. Riley Lively now, there's a plethora of things that make me not believe Riley. And
No,
Riley
I
Lively.
disagree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not that I disagree with Riley Lively. I just don't understand how one person can be the gatekeeper of the information. And if you're going to debunk somebody, show us what you got so I can show my audience and debunk Dot to them. But don't hold the information so that I can't show my audience and say Dot isn't real, just like you're telling us. And that's not like a criticism, but I've never heard anyone kind of push back on that but you. And I feel the same way.
And that's exactly my point is you're telling me I'm wrong. You're debunking me, but you're not giving me receipts. Like you're asking, and I don't even know what the word receipts mean. I mean, because Daniel has my cell phone bills, everything unredacted that I have. Nobody's ever going to get the Snapchats. In fact, we are going to motion to have those destroyed so they're never released because that's not my information. That's another mother's child's information in that group Snap. I'm not giving out my daughter's Snapchats. I'm not giving out anybody's Snapchats. If they've managed to obtain them and pull them back, which I am under the impression that they have, to proving that time difference, then that's for the court to do. But I don't, those are not. And so Jules, who I respect Jules, but she wants these receipts and somebody else, and I'm not giving them to you. I'm just not. I'm not ever going to give them, and we will make a motion to have them destroyed.
Kim, sorry.
No, you go.
Do you think does Brat think that Dot is been debunked?
I don't. I think she probably. I think she does. I think that Brat's taken a lot of heat, and as time goes by, and I know that she said to me has been true. Things that she told me a long time ago, just now are coming out. So I don't find her to be a liar. Time is a test in this because there's so much of it that you start spinning your wheels and rethinking yourself and questioning yourself, and people question you, and then time is not your friend in a case like this because you do forget and think, and then you listen to other people. So I don't know if she believes Dot or not. I think I've heard her say she doesn't, but she may have information I don't have. As far as Dave goes, I believe Dave, and his His whole that day, his Snapchats are gone, but everything else is still there. But he's been scrubbed. Who scrubbed it? And why? That's insane.
So his Snapchats, he had a setting to save his Snapchats and they're gone now?
Well, I don't know. So I'm not technical at all. Literally, honestly, I'm just not. And unapologetically not technical. And he was, when he was on Paramount, that I'm not sure if that was the first time, I think that it was just gone, everything he had saved or whatever. And somebody said, well, why didn't he screenshot it? Well, because you don't realize, when the thing with Kopaka came out, they had named, so we got an alert because my son lived on the south side of campus when that whole SWAT thing went down. So, and it started apparently 8 o'clock the night prior, and so 3:30 the following morning, we get this alert or whatever, and so then immediately I'm awake, and then then it's called off, and so I call the school. Nothing to see here, not connected to anything. And I said, you know, that makes it worse that they're not connected, right? Just so you know, it makes it worse because now we have a whole new crime. And you have a 38-year-old man living with 20-year-old kids. That's weird. Why are you doing that? That's whatever. And so they, so when how do I put it? Ask me another question about Kopaka, and
yeah,
can.
Okay, I have a great question for you about Kopaka. I wrote
Okay.
down while you were talking. So
Okay.
this is, again, it's whatever you're comfortable saying, but
Right.
what is the word on the street or the rumors on the street at WSU about Kopaka?
Nothing.
That's fascinating, actually.
It's insane. When they said to me, it has nothing to do with Idaho. And I said, why do you have a 38-year-old man with PTSD and living in Coug housing with two 20-year-olds? Why? Well, we can't tell you that, or I'm not even sure what they said. Lana was able to break down who all these people were, and whether it was he even lived there, because none of his clothes were there when they went to when his brother went to get his stuff. And there's so many different things. Do I think he was involved? I've always kind of thought he was involved, but I don't. Because of the things he said out the window about knowing who, something about I didn't kill them or something about that, and then the letter that Koberger's sister wrote stating that he met a friend, and the reason his print could have been on the sheath was because they were doing cocaine and used the knife, and he might have opened the knife. And then what somebody else said, what else did it was another, well, he grew up in Moscow, and his parent, or in Idaho, Moscow, I think. And but I know. So when the first article came out, it named somebody completely different, which Lana found him and interviewed him. But then and they said he worked at the school, and he was in he worked at Moscow and in technology. And then that they didn't say anything about the PTSD that I'm aware of, but they just named the wrong guy completely. And then all of a sudden it became Kopaka. And this guy comes on and he said, I'm still telling people it's not me. It wasn't me. But the tech stuff was down in Moscow the night of the incident, the night of the crime. It was down, which could be because they were going into a midterm exams right before the holiday break. So they could have been scrubbing it because classes change. You have different class times, and nothing's the same that week. I know at Wazoo, I'm assuming it's that way at U of I. But so yeah, I mean, so what I guess my point is that they scrub things. Like I didn't think it would be gone the following day. I didn't think to screenshot it when it occurred that it would be gone the following day. you know.
course not.
So when people say, well, why didn't you screenshot it, Dave, and save it? Well, first of all, if you screenshot a Snapchat, people can tell you've screenshotted it. I know this from my kids because they'll send a snap and it'll be something cute, like of one of my grandchildren. And I'm like, oh, screenshot that and send it to me. He goes, no, they'll know. I'm like, so what? Who cares? But apparently the kids do care. So they don't screenshot as a habit because on some of their social media platforms, it will say he screenshotted you and apparently you look like a weirdo then.
That makes total sense. When you say systems down, though, are you talking about the internet, the telephone, the inner working, like the systems within the university? What systems were down that night?
My understanding was technology. I guess it would be Wi-Fi, and I could be getting it incorrectly, but I don't know if it was the Wi-Fi or if it was maybe whatever systems they use were down, because every once in a while the kids will go down like a couple times a semester for whatever, that they have to scrub it or something or do something to it. But that night, my understanding was that everything was down, like the computer systems were down. And so like the pings, and I know that's not the same computer system, but the kids came down. My kids happened to be home when he was arrested. It was midwinter break, and my son came down and he goes, there's no way that that's correct, how they're saying it. And I don't understand that, but he's there. All the kids think that there's no way that's correct. The pings are correct at all with the cast stuff. They absolutely doubt it. So every kid I've spoken to about it.
No, that's what we just want your sampling of. And you said a couple things about Kopaka that I just want to go back to, just because I hadn't heard them before. And if they're just curious, if they're public knowledge, like something you read in a newspaper, or like just something you picked up being in the area. And the first one was that he yelled some things out the window. I hadn't heard that before. Is that word on the street, or is that just something you picked up from news?
That I picked up. So I was a reporter there from, I'm not sure if it was Fox or News Nation. I didn't care. I called the first reporter I had, and I knew she was in Moscow, and I called her and I told her they're swatting somebody and I told them it was at the coffee house, and she went there, and I'm not sure if I don't remember where I heard that information. There was a lot said that, you really can't validate or vet or know it's true because it's gone. And that they then said that he had lit a fire, but there were no fire trucks. And there was just all of these things and I can't remember. I honestly don't remember who said it. I just remember that was kind of what was said in the very beginning. And I called the school directly. When I said one time I called the president, I didn't mean the president of the United States. But if I thought that would get this solved, I would. I'm not lying. I'd call him. I don't think he could fix it, honestly. But I did call the president of both schools. And I went to Utah too because the secretary or somebody in the president's office told me to go to YouTube and say something every day.
Good. But I honestly, and I don't mean this, I just wanted to know, I think that your instincts and the way you probably should be an internet sleuth. Maybe when this is all over,
I don't think I have the heart for it.
You have a hidden career in front of you.
You know what I call it? It's just momming. I'm just being a mom. When,
Amen.
One and one doesn't make two, then I got to find out why we're getting 300. Where are the missing parts to this whole thing? There's something missing. And the time frame is a huge deal. It's a tremendous problem it's a tremendous problem, in my opinion, that 8-hour, 10-hour delay.
I'm just going to the chat to clean something up. I have one question for you while I turn off my camera. Is another thing you said that I just don't get a lot of reliance on. I'm curious to know if this is, again, word on the street or something you heard in the media about BK's sister writing the letter, making an excuse for why that DNA, that touch DNA could have been on that knife sheath about the cocaine. And was that a word on the street, or was that?
No, it was, I thought Now, I didn't know what Reddit was, and then there's another thing after Reddit that I was told never to look at, and I haven't. I trust people when they tell me not to look at something, but it was some form of social media that I read it on, because I actually read it, and then I believe it was on Reddit, and if it's still, I haven't even I can check and see if it's still there, but I've never checked back because I remember her saying that he used drugs. And that makes more sense. It makes sense that he would be an enforcer. And a lot of, it makes a lot of sense. That makes sense a little bit, a lot actually.
I hadn't known that word until I listened to Pavarotti.
There's so many things I've learned. I've learned so many new words, phrases, things I never needed to know. I mean, but these kids all know them. When my daughter said snitches get stitches, I thought, what happened? What happened to my little girl? Like, what? That's like Godfather stuff. That was very scary, very telling.
Yeah. And the harder part is that she's learned it for self-preservation,
Yes. She knows where not to go. So, do you ever get those text alerts that says you have a package somewhere?
Yes.
On a cell phone. So I said, "What?" I'm the kid. I don't know what we were doing. I'm like, I keep getting this, and I didn't order a cell phone. I should call them and tell them it's not mine. And she literally whipped the phone out of my hand, and she said, "No, that's trafficking, Mom. That can be a trafficking, so they can locate you and take you." I'm like, well, they'll return me right quick.
You raised a good kid. She knows she's got a good head on her shoulders.
She has a good head on her shoulders. She does, and she knew she didn't want to leave school, so we put eyes on her for the remainder of the school year. And my son came home at Christmas time and went to school globally, and then we transferred to the East Coast.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're comfortable and you feel your kids are in a safe place, because I appreciate your bravery and your courage and just saying something, because nobody is talking who has the ability to. And it's nice to hear you come out, and you're also backing up two younger people who came out, Dot and Dave. Their aliases, Dot and Dave, who don't really have anyone else to validate what they've come out and said. And so,
and I will tell you, Dave has no reason to lie. Caden Young was his best friend.
Who was his best friend?
Caden Young. They were in the same fraternity. Kaylee's brother was in their fraternity.
I just appreciate this because you're validating that phone call for me. I've featured it on my channel, and it has been one of the most popular videos I use. People want to know what Dave has to say, and just to hear that, as a creator, I get nervous putting something out that I can't confirm. But you're enough validation for me.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that he came out, because he heard me say something. It was the right thing to do. I think he's brave. I don't feel like I'm brave. I feel like I'm just a mom, and I'm doing the right thing. And I'd be what kind of a mother or person would I be if I didn't do the right thing? Brave is what these families are, having to keep their heads up and keep going and keep going. I can't. That is that's brave. Getting out of bed when you don't want to is brave, because you have other children. That's hard work. It's just a little tiny paragraph and a warning and a reminder every day till this is solved. And I don't know if Brian did it or not. I don't know that, but I know he wasn't alone, in my opinion. From everything I've heard, I feel very comfortable in saying that there was many people there.
Thank you for coming out with a bold, clear statement. Thank you, Kim. And oh gosh, I lost it was so bold, I lost my next question.
I've been doing that too.
You mentioned Pavarotti, okay? You said that you really like what Jay Embry is doing. It's resembling a lot of the things that you heard early on, and you find it reflective to what you initially were thinking. Can you name a couple other creators that you feel are doing a good job covering the case that we could go check out here on YouTube?
Differently, obviously Daniel. I think Daniel's got a different opinion that comes from Ellie, but I think he's got a really knowledgeable opinion. He can I'll call him and ask him a question, and he can makes it make sense, right? And gives another side of it, so that we're not so focused on. So we can't just get so focused on either Ellie is bad or it's Koberger. It's not resolved. This case is not solved yet. They're still working on it. The defense's investigator actually called me over the summer, and they're working on it diligently. So in order for us to protect all of our rights, we need to make sure he gets a fair trial. So I think balance is good. I think Lana is fantastic because her facts are good. I've not yet to see a fact that's not. She's got an approach that's a little, but that's her style. I think Dago offers a softer side and a place for people. Do you know who Dago, True Crime with Dago, is? By chance?
Kiki, you're muted.
I said yes. I love Diego. I've been on a panel with him before.
Oh, you have. So yeah, I love him. Who else would I if you want, I have a really hard time seeing. I'm audibly, I don't have I can't hear direction audibly for some reason. I just can't. So it's really hard for me to decipher. Today was the first time I actually ever was able to make out that statement how I heard it. And it's different than what Jeff said, but if you want if you want visuals, Jeff or actually, and Stevie Irwin too is really great with the visuals. Really great. Honestly, he's so talented. But who else? I just found you guys, honestly. I mean, literally, today's the first. I listened to some of your videos yesterday, and then because I always listen first to see. Who else would I say? I would say Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia, because I'll tell you, she's young. She's my, she actually went to school with one of my nieces, and we didn't know that until much later, until after we met each other. Her mother is lovely. She is lovely. She's the real deal, and she's really bright, and she gets it out there, and people will open up to her, like Kaylee's family opening up to her. So I think she's a really good one too, and she's never given anything up. If I have something, so whenever I hear anything new, I send it to Olivia and tell her to send it to Steve if he wants it. I've never spoken with any of the families. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't. But if they wanted to ask me a question, which has happened before, I'll answer it through, and I just go through Olivia. And so I would definitely watch Chronicles of Olivia. I think JLR. You know who actually? A.R. Hayes.
Yeah, we're big fans.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, if I were to say, he is just, isn't he really something else? He's a really good guy, and he's got a lot of insight too, and real insight, like kind of like Pavarotti, the same thing. They're kind of. They both have a lot of it right in different ways. I truly believe that Sigma Chi is involved in somehow with what happened to Ethan. That's just my theory and my feelings. They're just too concerned about shutting people up, and that makes me question everything they say. Because I would think I would want to be talking about it.
Yeah.
And 8 feet too. I would definitely and the Venmos, I would look into the Venmos too. Who did the Venmos first? Bubbly Waters has some good information.
Okay, well, go look at Bubbly, because when you talk about the Venmos, are you talking about the Venmos to Ethan that night when he got the Venmo at 11:30?
Well, I'm more talking about the 3:30 one.
The one
3:30 a.m.
Yeah. 3:30 a.m.
You're talking about. All right, I've never dived too deep in that because I've got screenshots of it. Of course, it's been taken off, and I made a video about it a while back. But it's hard to talk about things because for me, I have trouble talking about the people involved in this case. Even Dylan and Bethany, it's hard for me because I don't want to I feel like it's unfair for me to take the amount of people who watches my video and say something that I don't know or I haven't heard from somebody in the case. But you've given me enough that I can feel comfortable talking about some of these subjects that I haven't been. And I appreciate that, Kim. There are a few things I've wanted to explore that I haven't before, and you're giving me a little leeway to do that. So thank you.
Well, good, because I think, I have to tell you, if I were to sit on the jury, which obviously I would not be allowed to, but I could go in there and not know. I mean, I don't know, right? You haven't proven he's guilty or innocent, and he's got to be innocent until you prove him guilty to me. So I don't know that there's anything. I have a fear that, and it's a big fear. Well, didn't they just have, Caden Young died right after. How many kids died after the first 4 between both campuses? Another 3 or 4, 5?
Is this from overdose?
Well, it's either overdose or suicide. But now they're getting a little smarter, take him over state lines. That whole thing with Caden Young does not wash. Harborview is the best trauma center in the country. Hands down, it is. So Caden was supposedly at the University of Washington, but I've heard different things since, at a fraternity partying over spring break. I don't know who goes to Seattle for spring break. That's boring. But so then he goes to Harborview and they release him. And now he's dead 4 hours later. Harborview does not release people to die. So, and who did they release him to? And why didn't they call his parents? That makes no sense.
I don't know anything about this. I mean, I've heard the name mainly from AR's channel, I think is where I heard it one time. But you're bringing up things I've never allowed myself to really explore. So it's interesting.
So Demetrius and Emma were with him and sold him, and apparently there was fentanyl in it. And apparently somebody said Demetrius revived him, but then and sent him to Harborview, only for them to get arrested for it when he finally did die, because they set them up to bring back more. I don't know. And then the day they were supposed to go to trial in, I think it was May, they released them and said that it was, And they said it was a jurisdiction. So he died in Centralia. So somebody picks him up from Harborview. And my understanding was it was Emma and Demetrius. That could be wrong. Anything can be wrong. And then they bring him to Centralia, Washington, where he dies. That's where they're arrested. And then they said it was jurisdictional. So they sent him back to King County. Thank you. Keep him out of my county, please. And they sent him to King County, and then they never arrested him. And AR says he's down there. They're down there. In or somewhere down there in Reno or Vegas or somewhere. So it's beyond the pale. I just don't even understand how we're waiting for these two to go to prison. And Demetrius his rap sheet is insane. For this man to be walking the streets, and I use the term man very loosely. I don't dislike anybody. This guy, I tell you what, he's just a terrible human being. Yeah.
Where's Emma?
Is Emma what? Excuse me?
Is Emma in custody right now, or
No, Emma's out, and I think she's out and was not going to be recharged. And I believe I want to say they dropped her DUI, but I'm unsure. The infamous DUI. Ugh, yuck. If that doesn't stop people from taking drugs, I don't know what will. Right? Gross.
Yeah.
So she is apparently down there too. I don't know. Her parents sold their house, is my understanding, which was behind 1122 King. And she was, the thing is, she had such a bright future, and she just got sucked down this bad place with this guy.
It's tragic.
It's terrible. Yeah, she's a beautiful girl. 22, she's obviously smart.
Turn it around. Maybe she can turn it around.
I hope she does. I do. I hope she does. I hope she knows that she's better than that, and everybody will welcome her to be a better person. She's got a huge life to live, and she wants to live it. Clearly, her parents care about her.
I have a really important question for you too. How's your daughter doing? This has probably been really traumatic for her. Is she Is she doing well? She must have some PTSD from all of this, and I just
Nah, she doesn't. They don't. These kids don't. And I'll tell you what, they're sad. They feel very sad for these kids and what occurred. But they had such a way of stepping outside it. It was insane how well they all stepped outside of it. Even Jasmine went back to school over there. I mean, the triplets went back to school. The 2 surviving triplets went back to school. They all went back to school. It was like they couldn't be touched. And on the anniversary this year, my Pay to come in and I was crying, and she goes, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "It's just a really sad day." And she said, "I know it's sad, Mom, but," and I said, "Well, what? It could have been you guys." And she said, "It couldn't have been me, Mom." And I said, "What does that even mean?" She goes, "It would never have been me or Will." So there's something that they're not saying,
Yeah.
right? Which falls in line with the targeted. And she won't expound on it, and I'm not going to force her to.
No.
But she is not afraid. I will say, she was running in our neighborhood and was followed and then chased by a car. And she's so whip smart. I'll tell you what, that kid. She zigzagged through backyards all the way, like zigzagged, and lost this person in the car. We live in a gated like community, and she was, so she's, she just is very, she's not a mom yet. Yeah, resourceful. She's got a lot of tools in her shed. And my older kids were just all over me for letting her go back. But she missed her senior year in high school. She had brain surgery. She's fine. It was a catastrophic shear injury. She's fine. She's totally fine. Honestly, she's totally fine. She doesn't need a tattoo. She's got a scar on the back of her neck, so she's good. Because I'd kill her if she brought one home with a tattoo. She came home with a tattoo. But she just is very. She's safe. She can't ever fly in that fast. How you don't have to go through TCA because accidents. So I gave them tasers when they went back to school after Thanksgiving.
I would have too.
Yes, and she forgot it was in her backpack, and so she was flying home. Because she goes, yep. And so now, then there's no way to get her off it. She's like on it. You always have to go through TSA. You're always gonna have to wait in that long ass line because you didn't take out your taser. But they said. And so I actually went to the parents at Wazoo and I said, hey, if you sent your kid because a lot of kids came back with guns, and I'm not a gun person. If you want a gun, that's fine. I just don't. It's just not my thing. Right. And I have no problem with it, take care of them, be responsible. But I almost got her a little handgun. But what would that have done? So instead, I got a rake. You know those metal garden rakes?
Yep.
And I turned it into a jewelry holder, and I took the wood stick. I had my husband shave the wood stick to put over her bed. So if somebody comes in, she could pull it off the wall and, kill them. What are you going to do? She's got to,
You're doing something. That's what's important.
And
I think that's great because that gives me ideas because I'm in line with you, and I don't really I'm fine with guns, but I don't really want one in the house. I have a 14-year-old at home, and my fear is always that you hear what ends up happening is the gun owner is the one who's harmed or another occupant of the house. Exactly. And I'm just like, I don't feel comfortable like taking that chance, even though, I'm a single mom and everything. And I would feel comfortable. I would be, oh, that feels good. But then I think of my son. So I'm like, now I might have to go get a rake.
I know, right? It's a really great tool.
That's a good idea. It's like,
And it's you can buy them like in stores. They sell them like jewelry hangers, and they're just old rustic farm stuff. And so that's why I thought about it. But
that's great. Yeah.
And the tasers, and I said to them with the tasers, I said, do not use them on each other. What is the first thing they did? They go over there and they're all tasing each other on Greek Road. And I'm like, you're wasting them. I don't know how many tasers you have in a taser.
I know, right?
I don't know.
I said, does it hurt? They go, it doesn't feel good. I said, does it give? She goes, it'll give me time to run.
Okay.
Scream,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
don't
a
know that I
whistle
would need to
too.
know what it feels like, but
I know, right? Idiots. I'm
yeah.
like, you guys are idiots. I mean, once she pepper sprayed her brother because she just needed to see how it worked.
Oh
I
that
was
my
going
was
to say, good thing
smart.
you didn't give him pepper spray, but
I
obviously,
know. I had learned that lesson in my poor son.
Oh my
You know, he
gosh.
worships his older sister, but you know, he's got a really good head on his shoulder too. So they're, you know, all of them do, but my older kids worried a lot more than I did. And I just started listening to so the way I learned to sleep was, besides going to a doctor and a psychologist, was to find balance, because this really unhinged me a bit. I'll honestly say that this unhinged me. Like, there's a lot. It's a lot. And so I started listening to the radio, the scanner, when she was at school. And that's what I did. I listened to the scanner radio all night long.
so that's like that's your escape, is like your escapism, is you listen to
Yeah.
Scanner instead of
No.
watching
Yeah.
TV
Right.
or Netflix.
Yeah. I'm listening to the scanner. Yes, right. I listened to the scanner, and then and that helped. That worked while she was there.
Were you listening to the
I-
scanner for her area? Just
Yes,
to
well, I
hear.
did. So there
That's
was,
I can see that.
I
Mhm.
called the police department and I said, so they had a couple of incidents is afterwards. All the kids did, like their door was spray painted with red spray paint. I don't know what it was. I don't even want to know what it was. But and then there was blood on our washing machine. And somebody said they were sharing a washing machine with somebody, but they were living on like what those kids lived in.
A
A live
house.
out. They call them, yeah, a live out, a Greek live out. So
Mhm.
I called the police department and I said, look, we have 3 months left together. Let's just get along. And you drive by my daughter's house. You know where she lives. You drive by my daughter's house several times a night and make sure she's okay. And so that night they drove by and to check out a white truck that was parked in front of it. But I knew that they were doing it. And so, yeah, I felt that I mean, I'm not going away. She's going to stay there
They
for 3
heard
months.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt hurt. Actually, I felt
Yeah.
hurt. And
Right.
this whole thing is so unfortunate because both of these schools are such good schools.
Yeah.
These kids get Peyton and her friends all have jobs. They were hired before. I think they were all hired before they even graduated. Which were really good job. I mean, she has a take-home car. She has a Tesla. She travels. She's got a great opportunity, making more money than she could have ever hoped for, which is fantastic. Wazoo puts out great
Yeah.
people, and so does U of I. And it's unfortunate that this has really taken so much away, and that we still have kids over there that we know from this area that.
Yeah.
So there's still a worry, right? You don't want anybody else. I don't want to hear anybody else get hurt. But so far this school year, I haven't heard of anybody else passing away, which is good. I mean,
Yeah. No, of course.
the assault one isn't so good, but hopefully they work that through. And maybe the not drinking on campus on Greek Row now that it's dry, that'll help. Maybe they are listening. Hopefully.
Yeah, and change takes place over time, right? So
Oh, we lost Kim.
we'll get there probably. Oh, what happened?
Looks like Kim's.
He'll come back. But someone was asking what did Pavarotti say about Ethan specifically, and I don't remember what he did say exactly. Do you, Kiki?
No, that's why I pulled
Kind
it.
of like.
That's why I just
Oh.
displayed it. I thought maybe Kim would answer what she was talking about. I hope she comes back. We have a few more questions. I mean, other than that, obviously this is a surprise. If Kim comes back, we'll obviously want to continue with her. But other than that, we'll probably call it a day, unless you had something you wanted to go over while we were here.
No, I wasn't even going to come on today. I just was like, I know I'm like procrastinating on my regular work day here.
That's okay.
I think
That's okay.
there you go.
You got a break from the day. You'll be refreshed and get some YouTube energy.
I
Energy.
know, right? No, this just means I'll have to do some work tomorrow on Saturday. I'm trading.
I was hoping we could get you back here tomorrow on panel. We're going to have a lot of rebuttal.
What time?
I haven't decided, but I mean, I've been coming on at 9 today. I did it for 10
Oh, I'm
because
not. Yeah.
my research just got thrown off. But what I'm trying to do is 2 to 3 hours on the live stream. So it's not like if you can't come on at like a certain time, you couldn't jump on. But would 10 o'clock be too early for you if we tried that?
I'm just trying to think what I have to do with Nico, but
Well, we can. You can think
yeah,
about
we
it.
can talk after. I don't know.
You guys
You
will
know
probably.
me, I'm more of a later afternoon, like a noon or a 2 person.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk later. We'll see what we can do, and you guys, we'll post it as soon as we decide on a time, and we'll do a lot of follow-up questions. Kim, the one thing that we didn't get a chance to tell you, I'm hoping that you're watching right now, is, let me just take this comment down. The first thing we want to say is we appreciate that you gave us a chance and came up on panel and talked to us. You answered some really tough questions. You went out on a limb and you said your truth, and you did not sugarcoat it. You spoke clearly, and I appreciate you giving my channel a chance to interview you. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me and Gia a chance to have you come up here.
Absolutely. Yep. And anytime. And I know you work with a lot of great creators, and they're all people that we love and we follow and we trust. And we really appreciate your giving them kudos and letting us know who it is you trust. And, you know, just really kind of validates all of the people that we're listening to and makes you feel better knowing that, you know, what they're saying is ringing of the truth.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better. And we want you to know that our thoughts and our prayers are with you and your daughter, your family. And thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself. And we're just praying for you. We're praying for your community and for healing in general for your children and their friends. So on that note, I just want to say thank you for coming up here and joining us on the fly, Gia. And thank you to our amazing audience. We know you can be anywhere, but you chose to be with us, and we're really grateful for that. And I'm going to play a little outro. And thank you so much. And
yes, and I'll just say another plug too for the end. If you all, before you leave, could just hit the like and subscribe button, that would be terrific. I would really appreciate that.
Thank you, Gia. And also for the ones, so Gia's streaming this onto her channel, and I'm going to put the handle up for you guys, because if you could really please go subscribe to Gia. She does a lot of hard work for this channel. She doesn't have the time to necessarily put in and build a YouTube channel right now, but the more you subscribe to her, she could get to that level where she can do streaming on her own. She can do monetization. It would just give her incentive to do a lot more work on YouTube if she could get some subscribers. So I put her handle below. Don't forget how much she puts into this channel. Please visit her channel and subscribe while you're there. And so with that,
thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us, Gia. And have a great day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff.